the evil that threatens eternal night. Heroes from across worlds stand and unite. No other foe or force can match their might. The once great people of this world now hide in fear. All chaos shaken by the power of sword and spear. The black-clad armies of the Dark One now draw near. But in the distance, the sergeant and the bear appear. Great heroes of past the law, no power has seen before. We spread far across the sky, marching across the great divide to save the world from deterioration, to end the age of annihilation. Great heroes of past the law, no power has seen before. We spread far across the sky, marching across the great divide to save the world from deterioration, to end the age of annihilation. Legions of Romans stand and let their arrows fly. The roaring of dragons and machines fills the sky. Secret agents and the generals they defy. Swarms of orcs and samurai raise their banners high. In the wake of death, only one man stands alone. The sergeant raises his sword, high silver shone. He condemns the chaos the war on his has sown. He stands longing for the day he may return home. Great heroes of past the law, no power has seen before. We spread far across the sky, marching across the great divide to save the world from deterioration, to end the age of annihilation. Until the war for the world springs is won, they will fight until they're undone. But a hero will stand alone as one, and the bloodshed is finally done. Great heroes of past the law, no power has seen before. We spread far across the sky, marching across the great divide to save the world from deterioration, to end the age of annihilation. Great heroes of past the law, no power has seen before. We spread far across the sky, marching across the great divide to save the world from deterioration, to end the age of annihilation, 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 to end the age of annihilation.
All right, welcome to ToV Live. It is Valhalla time, and it's time for part two with Jeremy taking a first look.
It's already been a week.
It's already been a week, and we only covered a little bit of stuff last Wednesday, and we did an overview, of course, on Sunday. And thank you everybody who participated during that, and the comments. I've read a lot of comments from those last two streams, and one or two things I want to talk about from those comments as well. Talking about this Wave 5 Embers of War from Renegade Heroscape, and me and Jeremy are going to start going through the lore and the characters of what we didn't cover last Wednesday, because we want to get this stuff in depth. We did a few things in depth last Wednesday. We overviewed everything last Sunday, and so for me now, the surprise is completely gone. It's completely gone.
Hey, you did a good job though. You did a great job.
But I still
Weathering the
don't.
week.
I still haven't read the lore of these units we haven't read the lore with. So I'm still kind of like, I had to know enough last Sunday to go through the podcast, the main podcast. But fortunately, I still don't know enough. So there's still going to be a little bit of surprise. And for those of you who are listening to this complete podcast special, like both are going to be. Like both last Wednesday and this Wednesday are going to be linked up, and you probably won't even see the transition. It's going to be pretty flawless, but besides me talking about it right now. And we have Meloman Studios first in the chat. How are you doing tonight, Meloman Studios? Yeah, let's. How about we get going? I think I need to share something. Well, here first we need some housekeeping things. Just to let you all know tonight. There is a thunderstorm probably going to be coming through, like a severe one, probably coming through in the next hour or so. So in an hour's time, hopefully all the power stays, and hopefully that because I don't think we're going to be done in an hour. I think it's going to take a little bit longer than that. So we'll see when we get to it, but there might be some thunder and lightning, and if the stream goes out at that time, well. Me and Jeremy will try to get back on, but most likely we will just like set things up for like a part 3.
Let's find another wellspring. Yeah,
if we need to. But hopefully, I mean, everything should be all good. This is just in case for you all listening tonight. So how about we start here? I'm gonna just need to I need to share a screen, don't I? Let me get this button. I'm gonna press this.
Don't mind
button.
Me doing all the last minute social media posts.
Oh yeah, I guess I need to introduce ourselves too. Of course, I'm Ryan, aka Tales of a Hell, and I have here with me Jeremy, the OSC Cullet. I guess that's kind of important, slightly,
Yeah.
I just feel like we're continuing since last Wednesday, so it's just like the conversation.
Yeah, it's just
continues,
you're just gonna bridge this over, right?
Kinda something. I don't know. I'll figure it out.
You're good.
I'll figure it out. Okay, we need to hit. All right, I think I go here, and I think it's there. All right, there we are. And so what I need to do is, let's see. I think I'm good there. Okay, yeah, looks like we are all set. All right. So before we start, I think our next one was the Great Bow Archers. Because we covered the last one we covered last week was the Scions, and okay, this is one housekeeping thing. I know last Wednesday or last time I kept on saying Scions instead of Scions. The C is silent. And I was looking at because I was reviewing it, and I'm just like I kept on making that mistake. In my head I was saying Scions, but my mouth was saying something different.
I feel bad because I was trying to like. I would try to like hit, and I couldn't. I didn't know how to like.
When I don't pay attention, I don't pay attention.
You're good, man.
Just roll with it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like language is already is a hard thing. So it's like this is a fantasy world. We do our best guess, best guess, but.
And Hot Diggity there in the chat saying, haven't caught a ToV stream in a while. Excited to hear your impressions on the newly announced figures. Absolutely, yes. Welcome, Hot Diggity. Nice to see you there in the chat as well. Yeah, we covered a little bit last Wednesday, so we're just picking up where we left off, going in depth. But like I said, I did want to say a couple of things. Like we said, we covered Scions last week. I misnamed that, so I just wanted to correct that. And talking about the Gelry Vanguards with the Krakenling. I kind of under-tiered this squad, this squad, the synergy of the squad too much, because they have and here, let me just get into it real quick. In their card, they have I think it's Defend the Deep, where it says a Gelry Vanguard adds 2 to its defense value when it's on a water space. And when I read that, I thought, okay, so it'd only be a valuable squad then if there's water on the field. And I neglected to really take in what it says after, or when it defends against an attack from a figure that has height advantage. So the important thing is to get these guys on height, and then defend the deep applies as well. There doesn't necessarily need to be water, so you don't necessarily need to have Iwashia for water space. If there's a little bit of water space, it's great, but you don't necessarily need that in the battlefield. So that makes my opinion of the gallery vanguards with the wonderful livable squid that much more valuable. So I wouldn't say they're last
great
on my tier anymore. And thank you to Wayne for leaving the comment in the last couple of days pointing that out. Gave a comment on the stream, so I do appreciate Wayne for saying that. And I'll probably bring up a lot of comments next time we do a ToV podcast because people had a lot to say about these things, and probably will tonight. So yeah, just wanted to cover those things. So, and hello Premiumscape, third in the chat. We're gonna get started. Okay, so great bow archers, correct? Let's dive in. Look at these guys. They're giants, not human. I know that much. And
very, very large.
Okay, I think it's just 3 paragraphs this time. So let's read the lore. And they come from Icaria as well. So probably like dragon hunters, I think, in a sense.
Yep.
Maybe. Okay, here we go. All right.
In a way,
Okay.
dragon hunters in a way, but I'll let you read it.
Yeah.
The specific.
Let's do it. The dragons of Icaria rule as uncontested sovereigns, kings and gods to many. Though a few govern with wisdom and justice, most wield their power with ruthless ambition, demanding the finest tributes and waging endless wars to expand their dominions. And wait a second, let me know all if is that text too small for y'all? It might be too small. Here, hold on a second. Let me just.
It looks good on my side of the screen for you.
There, I just embiggened it a little
Visually.
bit. I just made it a little bit bigger.
Oh yeah, you're good.
All right, and it says their hunger for control has driven Icaria into age-long conflicts, inflamed by bitter rivalries among the draconic lineages. These wars have scarred the land, creating hotbeds of conflict warped by magic to better suit the dragon's comforts. While for the other life on the planet, entire legions were left at the brink of ruin. But not all of Icaria's people would stand by and watch their world burn. Rising from their strongholds deep within hollowed-out volcanoes, the giants were the first to fight, taking up arms against the tyranny of the dragons, wielding massive bows capable of striking a worm from the sky. They met fire with thunder, defying their so-called rulers from miles away. Their resistance was relentless, forcing even the mightiest dragons to reconsider their dominion. Through the visions granted to him by the wellsprings, the Valkyrie Jandar saw the resistance fighters' unwavering resolve to liberate their world. To those bold souls on the brink of draconic death, he reached out across the worlds, determined not to allow such noble warriors to end their fight. Now nicknamed the Great Bow Archers for their signature enormous weapons, they stand against Utgar's ambitions and his dragons alike. With their unmatched skill in bringing down winged tyrants, they fight not just for Icaria, but for all who would be free of oppression. For the Great Bow Archers, the lesson of their homeland remains true. The bigger the worm, the harder they fall. And did you write this one, Jeremy?
Yeah. So I took lead on this one.
Now I do have a question actually.
Yeah.
Because this was brought up when we were recording the podcast last Sunday. Because it have in here, I think in the last paragraph, talking about Jandar bringing someone who is like bringing someone on the brink of death, and usually when it's shown in Heroscape or within the lore, usually characters are being brought to Valhalla just before they die.
Right. And
so the question is, when it comes to the Scions, were they also close to death? Like, if was there a bunch of them close to death, or is some just taken and they don't necessarily have to be on the brink of death?
So I actually did mention that in the previous episode. So
Okay.
sometimes, uh, in in many cases, right? There's a bunch of ways you can start with a story, but like I only have what's the word? This is more like a realistic point of view, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like I gotta grab like one specific idea and go with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm when I'm writing these things, I tend to like I go all over the place, right? So I have to like focus on one point. And so the conversation that you see in the bio, right, where they're talking, that came to me first,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if you in the Scion's bio where they're like fighting over the food and stuff like that,
Right.
that came to me first, and I kind of decided to go with that because I wanted to focus more on the idea of their
Oh,
personality
sure.
rather than their the origin point or their narrative point. Now, in that same vein, right? And the thing is, like, I've gone through, I went through all the bios, I made sure to read them and kind of see, and they all kind of different style. They have like different um, text styles or different origin styles and stuff like that. So I kind of wanted to do a similar thing. It's like when I'm writing these stories, I don't want to just stick to one type of storytelling method, but like different ways of showing the story as it unfolds. And at the same time, encouraging people to kind of think outside the box for themselves and be like, okay, so now that you know the base lore of how Heroscape works and how the way you described it, the Valkyrie have these visions of people at the brink of their deaths. If I don't mention it in the bio, now you get to decide, kind of theorize for yourself how that come to place, right? And that was something I mentioned in the previous episodes. Like, you know, one of the coolest things about Heroscape is its open-endedness. It's always been this huge sandbox experience as a gaming, as a writing, as a playthrough experience. I mean, any I don't know. I like to call it the sandbox experience, but for the most part, Heroscape has always been this thing you can just experiment with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing I want to keep going with the continuation of this game is that feeling that you can, there's still that open-endedness. I don't want to answer all the questions, you know, because if I do that, then that takes away the feeling of Heroscape, which has always been an open-ended game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll answer some questions, but not all of them. The rest are for up to you, Take some time to theorize some things, write some stuff out, have some fun, right? Because I'll tell you what, the fan fiction over on Heroscapers has got some pretty cool stuff. So
Sure.
you want to post some ideas you got? I mean,
Oh,
always love
yeah,
that.
I would have no idea
But
what it means to draw up fan fiction at all.
it's
I
and they
have,
people put some really cool ideas out there. So and that's the thing. It's like not saying that there isn't an answer, but it's more
right.
like each bio has one specific like frame, and it's like this is showing one specific idea, but it's a one facet of the many kind of things that can go with these characters. And then if there's anything missing, that's just theory crafting for you all, stuff for you to think about,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe we'll get a chance to answer at some point. We'll see. I don't
Okay.
know, but there are limited windows, and so it's like this opportunity to kind of like I pinpoint one thing, and then if you notice anything else, think about it. Theory craft. How did this happen, or why would this be happening? Things like that. I love reading the conversations. By the way, I do it all the time. Infinite, yeah, like Mellow Man is saying in the chat, infinite possibilities.
Right.
I to this day have locked in Craig saying or agreeing with me because Craig Van Ness agreed with me in the Discord that I called Heroscape the imagination machine. He agreed. He said, "Yep." He agreed with me. So that's what it's meant for. It's meant to be open ended. So I don't want to answer all the questions and then take away those options for you to kind of theorize why those things have happened and lose that joy in the moment because this game has always been a huge community endeavor. So I always want to hear
Sure.
what you guys think.
Sure.
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 Yeah.
Uh,
I just like it. It's just nice to be able to
yeah.
get these stories out and stuff, and then read what you all write too. Because I read what you put out there. So in the Discord.
I think we need a hollowed out volcano sometime down the line. That just you write that down, then
Yeah.
it's like then people are gonna be
Well,
like, well, that sounds
that
actually kind of
was
cool.
yeah. I locked that in my head like really quick because so if a lot of the basis is here, there's a lot of like how do I describe it? Themes. I think like foundations. There you go. That's a better level. Like there are foundations that are in this bio that I use to kind of explain these characters, because for me, Icaria, right, like the name itself, and then a lot of the early references and things like that, uh, to me speak a lot of like mythic connotations, like the
Hmm.
mythology, like ancient classical references. So hence why I use a lot of Greek when I use the names when I'm talking
Hmm.
things like that. And so if you go into classical Greek references and you dig into all the cultural references, their myth for the giants, right? They believe that giants are the reason why volcanoes exist. They
Hmm.
actually believe volcanoes explode because there's a giant in the mountain.
Sure.
So when I read that from the classical Greek myths, I was like, I gotta use
It's a
that
nice
somehow.
connection.
But make it Heroscape. So the giants of Icaria actually live in the volcanoes, and that's how they use. And you think about that, and kind of one of the theories that wanted to put out there. One of the implications is the volcano protects them from dragons. So things like that.
I eat volcanoes for breakfast.
It's, this is where the you just Galactic is an Earth Eater, you know. But do I know the secret to the Citadel? You shall find out soon.
Oh,
There,
oh
I'll
dear.
leave.
Okay, oh, Premium Scape. Okay, do I know the secret?
Yeah,
Yeah. Those questions might pop up, but
yeah.
when it comes back to and I just realized, like, yeah, Jandar did this. These are a Jandar-led unit, which is
Mhm.
kind of cool. I don't know how many. Do we have a Jandar archer unit like in Classic Scape?
Order Borealis, not in classic, not in classic.
Okay.
And so one of the fun things that I actually also wanted to reference, right? This is deep cut, and I don't know if anyone in the chat might know this reference, but this is ages ago, back when the castle set first came out, the Fortress of the Archkiri,
Hmm.
right? Do you remember? You kind of have a general idea of what the box art looked like. Do you
Right.
remember what the box art looked like? Yeah.
Yeah, it was
So
a
they
fortress,
had
and you had an army storming the castle, basically. Yeah.
storming the castle, right? And if you look on the parapets, right, on the top part of that, there are Roman archers, right?
Hmm.
Now, the problem was at the time, the current, well, now former, but current alliance at that time, right? Einar was a good guy,
Hmm.
but but that hadn't happened during the launch of Fortress of the Archkari. That had happened later, right? So during Fortress of the Archkiri, he was still evil technically, right?
Hmm.
And so someone asked at I think it was Gen Con, but someone had asked a Hasbro employee. They're like, "Hey, just wanted to double check this box here. You see this box? This is for the Fortress of the
Someone made a
Archkiri,
cool art.
right?
We need to match
They
something
make
in lore
cool
with
art."
it.
Well, that's the thing. They were just like, these archers are Romans. They're like, these are Roman archers, but Roman archers don't work for Jandar. They work for Einar, and Einar's evil. They're pointing that out. And the Hasbro employee goes, well, those aren't Einar's archers. Just basically, that was all they said. It was just this one
Hmm.
offhanded comment. Well, then it's not Einar's. And then everyone was like, oh my God, Jandar's going to get the archers. And people kept asking for that the entire time.
Well, there you
And it
go.
never came out. But now, Jandar finally got the longbow archers.
Again, another
But
answer to like fourth mass, a little bit.
true,
Um,
true.
I mean, a two-man squad. Now, some people don't like two-man squads. Some people love two-man squads, depending on where
It
you're at.
really depends on who you play
Yep.
because cost. Yeah, you don't get to make as many sacrifices
Right.
as one would with a four-man squad, so you have to play a lot more strategically.
Hmm.
But in many ways, people can if you play them well, you can find out why pretty
Right.
quickly why it's
Well,
due. Like the
and,
only reason why they have to cut the cost of
oh
numbers
yeah,
is
of
because
course.
they're strong.
Well, yeah, and they're
Strong.
basically they're dragon giant killers in,
Hmm.
in a sense, because, well, let me just read the stats real quick. 2 life, that's important. 2 life,
Hmm.
that is very important. And I'll say it, like, we repeated this often last Sunday too. It's like, Renegade, please make the small wound token things, because that would be, because there's so
Yeah,
many multi
we're getting to a point. Yeah,
common units now, that's just like,
all the multi-life.
we need to manage it somehow. And even if other people do their own thing, like you were
Yeah.
mentioning with like the tentacles of the Krakenling, last Wednesday,
Right.
the Renegade just needs to have their own
Manual,
solution
yeah.
presented and be like just like, okay, we're gonna give you a wound token pack and just have these little token things
Yeah.
ready to go. I don't. I mean, they can ignore it for as long as they want to, but it would help.
Knowing Lee, she's probably already working on the solution. She's probably
Mhm.
already been working on a solution this whole time and about to find out what that solution is.
Mhm.
We just don't know yet. It's just,
Sure.
like, trust me, Lee is a powerhouse when it comes to
Right.
solutions. Yeah, I think that's the best. Like, I've just watched her put in countless hours to get this game to
Oh, you
where it
have
is
to.
now, and just like,
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
she'll do what she needs to do to get it some answer to the wound
there's
token.
no
No
denying you
problem.
all are putting in a ton of work. If already,
Yeah, it's just if you don't see it, it's more of those like it's being done just behind the scenes kind of thing. Because
sure,
like I'm not production, so I couldn't be like, oh yeah,
right.
but it's just knowing if you're not seeing anything, I'm very sure she's doing something because that's just how Lee is as a person. She's working on everything. She's
And
got oodles of ideas.
and hello, Bill Flint there in the chat. Another name I haven't seen in a little bit. Good to see you.
Welcome, welcome.
And Bill Flint's saying, have a question. Why are these giants, or yeah, why are these giants large and not
Large and
huge
not
like all the other
medium.
giants of the same size? Well, I mean, they're large 8s, so I imagine they'd be pretty tall. I don't know about, because, I mean, the picture
I
of
want to say,
these are probably kind of deceiving, that, but I imagine they're pretty darn tall if they're a large 8.
yeah. If
Yeah.
have you seen the Hallochot mini yet? Have you seen her Hallochot in stance? I don't know if you've seen the mini.
The one Dryan we haven't covered yet.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've seen
or
it.
at least her height, how tall she stands. Yeah, the great bow stands the same exact height standing, so they're like equivalent to each other.
Okay.
So they're pretty tall.
How tall is a Hellforge again?
Hellforge.
Someone in the chat. You know what I mean? Maybe I'll have it.
One day we'll have our Heroscape apps.
One day we'll have her here.
little
Well,
database.
okay. Hellforge is a huge 9. So imagine them just being
So
just
as tall.
yeah, almost as tall as that. So that's pretty darn tall. So yeah, I'm saying giants ain't fool. Okay, but let me read the stats again. Here, okay. So because we just did wound tokens, and then we went off on a tangent.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so 2 wounds, move of 6, range of 7, attack of 3, defense of 3, 80 points. They're giant common squad, archer, precise, large 8. Of course, they belong to Jandar. And they have the special ability long shot specialist. When a great bow archer that is not moved this turn attacks a figure at range 4 or greater, add 1 to her attack value. So both of these are women? Because it says her. Okay. So
yeah.
So tall giant ladies. So how big are
the
Oh, giantesses.
Yeah, they all fight. All the giants fight together as a group, but the card represents them. The ladies of the faction fight.
Gotcha.
But they all fight together.
So what you're saying is that you're gonna have guy giants that probably aren't gonna hurl a bow, or bow and arrow. They're probably gonna hurl something more massive. It
remains to be seen, but there are guy giants.
I'm reading in between the lines here in the special ability.
There you go. Yeah.
Add 1. Okay, add 1 to her attack value. If the target figure is at range 7 or greater, instead add 2 to her attack value.
So they're the type of character you're actually going to want to... I imagine you play them the way they're meant to be played. You're going to want to activate them as soon as possible, get height as soon as possible.
Right.
And then park them.
Move a 6. You really don't need to move too far to get like...
6 is awesome. You can get half,
that you're talking about like, in essence, if you win initiative, you have, you have... what, 13 spaces ahead if it's a flat surface, the maximum 13 spaces ahead, and usually that covers the whole board straight to your opponent, depending on how flat the terrain board is,
right.
and that's already like a distance away, and so you're knocking out. Like a lot of times, like I imagine like this could be a way to take down a king army like right away instead of like we have Zelrig, destroying common squads before they can get out of their space. These Great Bow archers can probably destroy hero units, big bulky like dragon hero units before they get even a chance to fly. So
you can even, and with that move of 6, you can probably spread them out a little bit so they're not getting hit by dragon AoEs. So they you can just have them all kind of like spread out and then doing their shots. So you activate 2 a turn.
And if they're on height, then I mean their defense gets to 4. So I mean the stats are pretty nice.
They're meant to hold their place for sure. Yeah. I usually have noticed anything with a 4 or higher as a stat is a really good Parker. Like they're meant to just sit there and chill. And
it's like 1 wound's not going to take them out either.
Yeah. So you can take a bit of a hit if you need to set up.
Yep. So yeah, that's that. I'd say that's pretty nice. It's just going to be interesting. Like it's always interesting like the direct or indirect bonding synergies, especially with ranged units, of what you can come up with. So it'll be interesting to see what combinations people come up with in the future for these guys, because we can always use some good archers.
But real quick to answer, so Bill's question is the size for the other giants in Heroscape have always been huge. So these are the first giants to be launched that are large.
Right.
Even though these characters were designed when I first joined, so they had already put everything towards them, and they were working on them already by the time I signed up. My mechanic theory would be that because they're a common squad, they didn't want to give them the huge title, because if you remember, you give something huge, they suddenly get a lot of immunities, right? Because a lot of effects only affect small, medium, or large, or small, mediums, right? There's a lot of powers out there that'll say small, medium, large, and then all, right? But very few powers say all. So I think that's the point, was that they still get affected by certain special powers that would not affect huge characters. And that's just to make sure that they're still a little balanced and are not. They don't get to be OP, huge common squad, which means they're immune to like whatever, or all those different abilities that would be the huge characters are immune to. So we'd have to get a list. I know there's a list of stuff that huge characters are immune to, but I think that's why they did that specifically, made them large. They aren't immune to those abilities, and they can still be used against them in a certain way.
It kind of makes sense too. I expect if they're going to use any like male giant characters, those might be like huge, characters.
The unique designations. Yeah, common is meant to play in mass. You want like, I had to learn this the hard way. You want multiples. You don't play like playing one squad of common only works if you have a very specific strategy for it, but they're not designed to be played like that.
Right. Commons, you usually need a bunch. You want multiple. And I like that. I mean, there's actually like a nice, if you think about it lore-wise, why there's so few. I know a game mechanic perspective, there's a reason, but also a lore reason. I think when it comes to giants,
dragons is hard.
And when it comes to giants, or giant populations and any type of like lore or folklore, there's not many giants usually. There's not a huge population of giants, so that stands to reason that if you're going to have any type of squads of giants, you're only going to have a few. It's not going to be a big number of like 4 or 5 or 6 or 7. Okay, I just have a dream. Like a 6 or 7 person squad sometime in the future. I know that might break. Ooh. That might, like Premiumscape says, that might break the game. But
Hey, we got our first 5-man squad. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I don't know. You have to be really careful though, because then you get like, or maybe a unique squad.
Life of 1, attack 1.
Yeah.
And defense of 1.
A life of 0.
They're just like little not mites. ankle biters of some sort.
Anyway, so that's taking a look
Smaller
at
than the Nagrub.
that's taking a look at great bow archers, and yeah, I mean we already have a little bit of giants, I think, in classic lore, but let's see the race from Icaria stand tall and hopefully get to see more of that class in the future. All right, now we got to move on because this was just our first one, guys, for tonight.
I wish they would do the synergize with Jotun. I think they are giants from Icaria, so until the Battle of All Time, they would have never had any. My big thing with Jotun as a giant and the Great Bow Archers is that they definitely. I at least wanted to make sure their cultures there was at least a distinction, because I feel like the giant theme behind Jotun is different than the giants that inspired the Great Bow Archers. Because it's like,
well, I can tell
a bunch of different cultures have giant myths. Yeah. So because the giants in Icaria are different, I was like, yeah, I don't know how to tie this up with Jotun, and I don't think it wouldn't make sense anyway. So we're just going to keep them separate for now.
Yeah.
It makes sense if you think about it from like each planet is like, you know, millions of miles away from each other up to this point. Of course, they would have never met of each other, or known that there were others of them out there up until this point. So now it's like this big mental breakdown for everybody, because it's like, there's more of me.
Everybody's having a mental breakdown. I don't even know how they fight once you realize and understand.
When you realize that you're not alone,
and you're just like, and you're overwhelmed.
This isn't just this isn't just Fermi paradox either. It's
how do the fourth mass or like the 10th reg even comprehend, like, you know, because they're just coming out of just throwing sticks and stones at each other practically. And can you imagine bringing cavemen into this?
Oh man,
they'd just be like,
we need one person who's just like this, like eccentric lunatic type person, and he's just like, I knew you were all real, and that wasn't up. And he's just like, he envisioned the whole thing in his head, and then shows up to Valhalla, and it's like,
you need
it's
some
real.
type of nerd. You need some type of nerd.
It's just like, and is like really good at strategizing, because they did all this stuff in a video game in the past or something. That's funny.
Okay, next up. Now, I don't know, should we do Dreadnoughts first or do Crimson Widow? Because I know Crimson Widow's like quite essential to anything aside from Dreadnoughts.
I will say they do tie in together, so kind of.
You know, I'll do Dreadnoughts
totally
first.
Up to you.
Yeah, we'll just keep it down the line. And hopefully my cats aren't fighting with each other, because I don't need that type of noise. Anyway.
This one, I've seen a lot of fun discussions with this one in Discord. So thank you all for talking about it, because it's been fun to read.
Dreadnoughts of Caraway Cavern. Not Tortuga. Caraway Cavern. Yeah, I mean, and these are some of these unit pieces were some of the first ones we saw during the
August
Hazlight campaign,
2022.
Yeah, for Avalon Hill. So it's good.
The dream started with these.
Finally, get them out and see that they're a unique squad.
Yeah,
and the pirates.
I have a lot to say about the bio for this one too.
Oh,
there was some efforts. We put some work into this one.
Let's give it a read. In a stone coliseum carved into a lava-encrusted crag. Is that crags or crags? Oh, into the lava-encrusted crags. Okay, I missed the of the Kyrian Mountains. The tribes of Bleakwood have long held brutal contest of strength and devotion. During his rise to power, Uthgar oversaw these blood-drenched battles, using them to separate the strong from the weak. It was in this arena that the Kyrie warrior Taylord earned his place as Uthgar's commander. Under Uthgar's rule, Taylord expanded the tradition, allowing combatants from other worlds, both prisoners and volunteers, to enter the fray. Once warriors from beyond Valhalla joined the arena, the spectacle was forever changed. Kyrie now battled alongside and against fierce humans, razor tooth. What is that? Just say the word from
Salakchians.
See, I wasn't even gonna try. Salakchians, raging primadons, and a few spine-scaled Durgath left after the Linz Farm purge. For many, the arena was more than just a trial of strength, it was an opportunity. One rare chance to rise from mere conscript to a commander in Utgar's war machine. Among these fearsome fighters, the Dreadnoughts flourished, a championship team famed for their finishing tactics and unshakable ferocity. They dominated the arena for years, both in Utgar's Coliseum, no champion reigns forever. But in Utgar's Coliseum, no champion reigns forever. When they inevitably fell in battle, they forced the fate of all defeated warriors. Execution. Ay, ay, ay. The rescue came from an unexpected source, a renegade human. She offered them something greater than glory, coin, vengeance, and a place far bigger than the Colosseum. In exchange, they would help her build a fleet unlike anything Valhalla had ever seen. That's when they become pirates.
Yep.
Pirates.
This was such a fun bio. I mean, because we were already planning out like which ones we wanted to work on, and they were talking about this one. And I cannot remember for the life of me when the conversation started, but from day one, I want to say at least very, very early on, I knew I wanted to at least name the species, right? That had
yes.
Invented for the Avalon Hill crowdfund. That was because, again, not only was it because what were the pirates introducing to us? They were both a window to remind us that the traditions of Heroscape had not been forgotten, because it was, a window to historical characters. It was a window to themes from Mar, themes from other planets, right? That we were like, oh, that's an orc, that's an elf, That's what the pirates were, right? They were references. They were always references. So I'm like, we got to keep that going first and foremost. But they introduced a new species. They have a bunch of different new species they've introduced, and then they have the species that we're familiar with, the Primadon, which is the gorilla from Mar, gorilla people from Mar, and then you have all the others. So I'm like, we're just poking at it and stuff like that. And I want to say there's like Lord Council discussions. We talk about all these kind of stuff, and it was brought up we should use the Durgath. Now, if you are a deep cut, if you're familiar with the deep cuts, if you're remembering that word, the Durgath are a tribe that was referenced a long time ago in Rise of the Valkyrie, in the scenario Durgath Swamp, right? And all we knew about them was that they were long-lived. They lived a very long time, right? And they lived in the swamps and used the waters to their advantage.
This one?
Now, no, the center one.
Oh, the center one. Okay.
Yeah, because there's like I'll explain everything.
Like...
Yeah. So, well, that was the thing when we were discussing it. We came to the conclusion and realized not only us, but multiple people of the community in Heroscape, multiple Heroscapers, have suggested that the Durgath are lizard-like. We aren't the only ones. Many people have made this suggestion. So we all collectively decided, you know what, the Durgath are lizard folk.
Oh yeah. So then Primadon is
Primadon, yeah,
gorilla. Yeah, gorilla type.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that leaves the last one, which is the Salakian, right? And the Salakians. So this one was fun because what I ended up doing, I was able to draft this word, right? And what I did to get this word was I dug into kind of like the base references for Primadons, right? We were looking at different things, and so Primadons, I looked at that, and if you look at it closely, it references. This is personal. I don't actually say that this is what it is, but I think this is what it is. I thought that it's supposed to bear reference to primates, right? Because the primate order, which is where the gorillas come from, right? So I'm like, okay, Primadon's primate. So I dug into the references. And I'm like, what's the name of the shark order? Well, the shark order in biology is the Salaki.
There you go.
So I'm like, all right, Salakian.
Why not?
Right? So we're, that's how we did it.
Why not?
Because I had a different word I was drafting, because I love putting a bunch of words together, and I think it was Dandelions who took the word I made and then constructed a Salakian out of it. So it was like, we do a lot of cool stuff. That's like a lot of workshop style stuff where, I get to throw ideas out there, and then they take what I do and then work it into something better. And so, yeah, that's why I always try to mention that it is a group effort. It's not me by myself, but it is a team of us that is designing this story. and working through these themes, because it's a lot of fun. And but we do pay attention to what a lot of people say, because it's like, we talk about it too. We're like, hey, someone said this, someone does it, and so this is one of those things we focused on. Was like, a lot of people wanted to know what the species were. A lot of people talk about the Durga, so hey, we should do this. And it was just a really cool opportunity to lock those elements in there and be like, yeah, this is a story that we've always known. We've always told ourselves this, right? So this, you should be able to connect those dots again and see how the pirates make those references. But also, if the more deep cuts, of course, if you know the Colosseum lore, right?
Yeah, I say,
that comes
raise
from
your hand if you want to Ukkar
yeah.
Colosseum.
It's an ongoing reference. It's been referenced, it's referenced in Taylor's bio. It's referenced in. I actually got the idea of this specifically from Craig. Craig made a special scenario on the website that is called Taylor's Coliseum. And so I was like, yeah. So it looks like there's this continuing chain of Coliseum owners or Coliseum runners that belong to Ukar's camp. And so I was like, let's do that as like a thing. And this also pulled the references of, because the art for the dreadnoughts, right? The first thing we ever saw when that art came out was the word Monster Slayer. And so in my head, I was like, yeah, Coliseum, they're fighting big things. They're winning glory and this chance to be recognized by Ukkar himself, the greatest commander that ever lived. That kind of incentive is there, but there's always that chance of death. And so, but like, if you're already in a place of death, like Valhalla itself, where everyone's being pulled into, what happens if you're about to get condemned again? Become a pirate. That way, you avoid the second problem. So that's what we have here. So, but yeah, no, there was a lot that went into this. There was a lot of fun, a lot of really cool references.
And so you
have excited that people got the cat, like people were pointing those out before it was even brought up.
Sure.
So even before we even got to talk about this, I saw people mention it, and I was really excited about it. That was super cool to see that discussion.
The Durga's face, it reminds me of another like pirate squad person with like I think it's the one with 4 hands. I think similar face. I think I don't know if it's the same species or not. But,
the 4-hand one is a score dyer, because if you remember the Thyraxis Dragoon, they're the same. Yeah.
So you have a score dyer who's a pirate.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Actually. Yep. Okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
All right. Oh, and okay. I just remembered too. We saw this last
with the powers,
last Sunday. Something's up with the website to where you can't expand on a few of these cards. So I have to.
Oh. Okay.
Okay.
I'll let them know.
Yeah, I just got to open image, new tab, and then just go to the tab here. And let me just zoom in a little bit here. There. That's better. Okay. So, yes. Dreadnoughts of Caraway Cavern. Again, life of 2. Life of 2 for these guys. Move a 6, range of 1, attack of 3, defense of 3. 80 points as well. Interesting. That, like, the squad previous was 80 points as well. Varied. That's interesting. At the top. Unique squad, pirate, wild. Medium 5. And you have the Captain's Way. At the start of the game, choose one unique captain you control to be the Dreadnoughts of Caraway Cavern's captain for this game. Dreadnoughts roll 1 additional defense die against attacks from non-adjacent figures with their chosen captain within 4 clear sight spaces. And you have Taco Thrash 3R in the chat saying these guys were an instant pre-order. Aren't they? I just like they look cool. I mean, the minis themselves look cool. Also got Captain's Orders. Before taking a turn with Dreadnoughts, you may first take a turn with your chosen captain pirate here you controlled, so lots of good bonding there. Mortal Blow. After taking an opponent's figure, or after attacking an opponent's figure, roll 1 attack die for each wound afflicted in that attack. For each additional skull rolled, inflict 1 wound on that figure. So these are like unblockable attacks, basically. After attacking an opponent's figure, roll 1 attack die for each wound inflicted. So, say you roll your attack die and you have an attack of like say 3. Just you got 3 skulls. They did 1 shield, and so you put 2 wounds on them. But then you roll 2 more dice, and if those are skulls, those are 2 more wounds inflicted, unblockable. That's a pretty nice ability there. And you hit them once, and they're not dead yet. You gotta hit them twice. So nice pirates.
Very much. I feel like they're definitely the melee crew for those that focus on pirate builds. Because the ones that we've had, or the ones that we play with right now, the Exiles and the oh gosh, what? I keep
the Knaves.
I'm not mixing them up again. The Knaves. I don't know why I keep mixing up. I say Exiles for Knaves and Knaves for Exiles. It's so weird. I don't understand why. They should be very distinct. But
I animated the guys. Exiles, you think I would know them better, but no.
Right. Exiles have the first assault, right? So they're designed in a way where you attack, but then you want to pull them away as soon as you can, right? Because they have a defense of 2, right? It's not very they're not meant to hold engagement. You want to do first assault and then try to get them out as soon as you can, right? Now, then you got the Knaves with the shot, right? So you can put them up, and then depending on the situation, you either use their ranged abilities, or you can also melee with them, and they're pretty good. However, these ones right here, the Dreadnoughts, these are the ones that would be melee and stay in their place. Because it's like, I'm going to move them forward, I'm going to kick them, keep them there, and they're going to stay there, and they're going to keep hitting you until you stop moving. Because I mean, because you think about that, you roll attack of 3, right? Let's say you get 1 wound. If you roll attack 3, 2 skulls, you get 1 wound with that, right? That means you get to roll another attack for that 1 wound. It's just already, I mean, all you gotta do is get 1 wound, and you're already guaranteed.
Boom, boom.
It can build up really fast.
Taco's saying this is similar to the dwarf pirate.
Yeah, they got that. They're
obviously heavy hitters. They got all these weapons there to indicate they just smash. I like the poses too for these.
Yeah, he gets to reroll 1 dice. They get to roll 1 dice per wound they drop.
Yeah, he just gets to reroll 1 dice that does not show a skull. No, it's whatever wounds to the opponent you land, you get to reroll. To like say if you landed 2 wounds on your normal attack, then you roll 2 additional dice after applying those wounds, and if those come up as skulls, then you add 2 more wounds that are unblockable wounds on your opponent's mini.
Can you imagine getting height and then hitting someone that whiffs?
Can you imagine hitting white and have some type of glyph boost where you have a 5
4 wounds.
attack.
That's 4 extra attack die that you get to roll.
Or, I mean, Utkar, you could have these guys like I'd say in the in like a evil Raylan type army, and doesn't she have a boost? Does that is that melting someone's defense?
I want to say that's a movement boost.
Okay, it's a movement boost.
But,
okay.
Oh, and it's also what's the word? The aura, terrifying aura. So they lose a defense in that.
Oh, they would lose a defense. Okay. Well, no. Okay, is it then? I'm sorry, I'm getting my things mixed up. Levy attack. Does Levy attack provide like an additional dice? I don't remember.
She has brutality aura. Yeah.
Okay, so
brutality aura.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. Yep. So you have these guys in that mix because they follow Utkar. I think it's like you need the guys to follow Utkar.
So you could have them and her. They roll their attack, then any dice that doesn't show skulls gets re-rolled because they're in her presence.
Shoot. Yep. There you go.
This can become very painful very quickly if you play it right.
I mean, I don't want to theorycraft too much because we could talk forever about it, but yeah, that's lots of good possibilities.
Yeah, good options there. Yeah, so they play well. They're essential pirate characters for sure.
For sure, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, And it's funny as we've been waiting so long because I think this unit and along with the unit we're going to talk about next, we've been so desperate.
We've known, yeah.
Guys. And
we've known about them for the longest.
Oh my gosh.
I proxied them the longest. I mean, because I was playing these units back in 2022, so it's like, finally.
And I mean, this how would you say it? The Shalakians. I'm just gonna say Shalak. Shalakians. Yeah. So a shark. My son is all into sharks, so I know eventually he's gonna want it.
That was my favorite. I couldn't tell you when I got the contract, but I was very excited to be the one in charge of the shark lore. I was like, ooh, this is gonna be cool to tell. Whenever I get to tell him when he's old enough to understand that I created the shark lore.
And my son is all about like the megs, the megalodons, like the ancient prehistoric like huge sharks, he'll talk your ear off about those things.
Yep.
But yeah,
he did. I remember. He told me. We had a conversation about sharks, so we still have to wait till October.
Yeah, we still have to wait till October, but at least
there's a difference now. At least we have At least we have an end goal. There's also huge shout out to the artist. Huge shout out to the artist, because if you look really closely at the Durgith, he's pointing, and I love that. I love that he's pointing at you. He's so like, you're next. Like, ooh, I love it. It is the best vibe.
And I can tell they're all actually looking at one point too.
They're ready to punch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
the artist did a really good job of this one.
That's nice. Well, we will move on, but that's taking a look at Dreadnoughts of Carryway Kevin, and they're so happy to join your army or your pirate crew or go up against you and just keep on beating the snot out of you if they so choose.
Get those wounds.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. Let us go on to the next one now. So we talked about those guys. Now we can talk about the one, I guess the Rescuer. My guess that's who it was referring to in the report. Crimson Widow. There she is. Another much anticipated.
I just want to say this. I know everyone keeps trying to say otherwise, but this is a historical character.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Just saying, guys. Just
genuinely.
Saying. I know everybody says there's no historical character.
Well, and there's a huge debate about it. They're like, well, this one has some sci-fi effects. This one has some, and it's like when they go to Valhalla, you have to remember when they arrive to Valhalla, they're arriving from their world of origin, and their world of origin is set in that time period they come from. And Sergeant Drake, though they have, Sergeant Drake may have a grappling gun and a katana, but he did not have that on Earth. He got that on Valhalla, so you have to remember that the timeline that they're from, that's what makes them historical. It's not what they have on Valhalla that makes them historical. It's what they came from, if that makes sense. And so, in all respects, based on the terminology, Crimson Widow is a historical character because she comes from a historical time period. But she may look futuristic because she's been on Valhalla this time. I had to clear that out because I know everybody's fighting. There's the whole debate. That thing's been going on forever.
She got some gear, but I mean, she still looks, ready to go. It seems
from
like
Earth.
It's still. I mean, you still have like these shoes. Look like from Pirate Times a little bit. You got the like little square top. So
you have to. They changed their clothes on Valhalla. I promise. They're still from Earth.
Taco, we don't do fantasy Costco here. What are you talking about?
God. It's not fantasy. It's not fantasy Costco. You have to ask the question: how does Ular know how to use the rifles? Man made a rifle for Deadeye Dan. Okay, the Kiri are pretty smart. So
all right, let me read the lore here for Crimson Widow. We just have Crimson Widow. Do we actually... Here, let me read this and let me see if we actually know her real name. Even before the discovery of the Wellsprings, Einar ruled with an unshakable belief in obedience. Deserters from his ranks were rare and punished severely. His inner circle remained steadfastly loyal, save for one. He would never admit how much it troubled him that even just one had dared to reject a place among the Golden Palace's select few. Several years into the alliance, Einar's visions turned into Earth's South China Sea, revealing a new path for his ambitions. Ports along the Durgath River, granting Lidsfarm access to the ocean and the shores of neighboring lands. To command this expansion, he summoned a woman of legend, a fierce pirate and fearless captain, the daughter of a renowned pirate queen. He pulled her from the brink of death during a raid, offering her not just survival but praise, wealth, and an honored place at his court. In return, she would trade the life of a pirate for that of a regal commander, leading a fleet of golden sails in his name. Within a fortnight, she vanished. It's like, boom, we're done.
Yeah.
The finery from her quarters was gone, so she took it.
Yep.
And so was she, drifting downriver on a raft, gold in hand. Once a pirate, always a pirate, of course. Years passed, but when a crimson fleet began harassing his attempts to expand into Valhalla's waters, Einar knew at once who was responsible. Why? He wondered. Was she not grateful? Had he plucked her from the same cruel fate that had claimed her mother and her wretched kin? He had given her everything she could have dreamed of under his empire. She answered with poison, administered to Einar's wellspring by her own hand. See, the one thing I was going to actually ask is, like, because we haven't heard too much lore about Einar and what's going on with him during this timeline. Well, boom, there we go. Yep. We get our answer there.
Yep. I asked if that was something we could on, like, while we're working through the stories, is
right.
You know, kind of catch everyone up on each of the bits, because it's like we have the Age of Annihilation Master Set, we have the Peace Summit, that event, that was the starting event of the whole story, right? It's like that was started everything. So it's like kind of like following up, or like prequel stuff, things that led up to that point. That's a lot of the things that we work on for these bios, and that was one thing I wanted to see, was like at least some sort of clear way of showing people the different states of the Valkyria during this time period. This was a big part of that, was like, okay, well, Einar, did he get poisoned or not? You know, what happened to him? And while I was thinking that and working on ideas for this, I remembered, of course, the first paragraph in reference, right? This is who it's in reference to. I remembered about Shiori, right? And it was one of the interesting things I thought personally from the original story. I thought it was very interesting how, every time they talk about Einar, he's always about, you know, obedience and marching and diligence and duty and
sure.
You know, the glory and all this stuff. And you know,
I'm really surprised Garrett and Lightfolly got away with it, to be perfectly honest. I mean,
that's the theory, because it's like he always presented himself as someone that you would have to obey. But then there's Shiori, who just was like, heck, none of that, right? She literally bounces and then ends up becoming his representative in the Alliance Party. Like, that was funny to me, because I was like, out of all the people, all the loyal, all the disciplined, all the warriors, Shiori got picked. So I was thinking about that, and I was like, man, what if that bothered him? What if that really got under Einar's skin? He's just sitting there this whole time like, really? Like, he's just like, I can't believe she just ditched me. Like, I provide all these, and so in a way, it's like kind of showing this side of him where he's like, as he's summoning, you know, what he thinks while he's summoning, and he's thinking that he's providing answers to these people. He's like, yeah, I'm saving you from your past. I'm saving you from your current state.
So you have to do as I tell you.
You know, help me conquer this land, and then, you know, you will continue to receive praise and these gifts. but he's not understanding that people are individuals. He's not understanding that
Especially
you can't
pirates.
just offer people stuff, and especially pirates, mind you. But he's just like, no, if I give them stuff, they'll do what I say. And he has to learn the
Now
lesson
she's
a
like,
second
nope,
time.
taking
Yeah,
it.
he's just
She's like,
yeah.
I'm just gonna steal all this. It gives me like Jack Sparrow vibes just a little bit,
I wanted, and so the funny thing is, the pirate that she is actually based on is in Pirates of the Caribbean. So
okay,
you can actually the historical reference that the reference that she is reference that she makes, like her design and everything that she's referenced, is a pirate known. I have to pronounce the name right because she goes by a bunch of names.
Clearly, you've never been to Singapore.
Qingxi. Or it's a Zhengyi Sao is the pirate name.
Okay.
And she was a pirate queen during, let's see, pirate queen in China, right? From the 1800s. There you go. That's what I was looking for. So she's a pirate queen in China in the 1800s, and she was described as one of the most successful pirates ever in history. And one of the main reasons why was and this was funny because it kind of went back to what Dadscaper, I remember the conversation we had with Dadscaper over the design of the pirates when he brought up Crimson Widow, was that he realized when he did his studies, he realized that one of the main things why pirates did what they did was because they got paid. And as I was doing research about
privateers,
Sao, yeah, it literally is the same concept. But one of the main reasons why she was such a successful pirate in history was because she took care of her crew. And I was like, all right, we definitely have to mention that. And so I wanted to make sure that part of it at least was referenced as her connection to the South China Sea, and especially how she took care of her. Because hire crew, it's literally part of her kit is turning someone into a pirate. So.
And how about we actually open that up right now?
Very fun.
I gotta actually. This is another one.
I proxied her back in 2022. So if that tells you how excited I was for this character, I proxied her back when it was just a crowdfund con, and oh man, I had a blast. That was a lot of fun to play. I scared a lot of people because those powers are great.
For sure. Yeah, let's read into them. So Einar, Crimson Widow, and so we don't know. Well, the name you said was her real name, basically, correct?
No, that is her. So if you read she's the daughter.
Okay, the daughter. Okay, so we don't know her real name then at the moment. Aha. I mean, we know she's Crimson. We know she's a widow. She was married once then, apparently.
Well, so widow is a reference.
Okay.
Because it is actually, if you dig into it, all references their pirate history.
Okay.
So I don't want to get into it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Pirate lore is.
I'm gonna read
pirate history is its own thing.
Reading card. Okay. Crimson Widow, 5 life, move of 5, range 1, attack 4, defense 3, 150 points. And there's a reason she's 150 points. Human, Yakiro, Captain, Bold, medium 5. Because of this higher crew, and this is going to be for any type of pirate army build, this is going to be kind of necessary for this type of pirate build. At the start of a game, you may choose a unique squad in your army. For this game, the chosen squad's class becomes pirate, replacing the class listed on its army card. And I can imagine some tournament scenarios. I think they're called general wars, to where you have to have your army of whatever units you have. Each card has to be a different general, I think.
With general wars, it has to be the same general.
Oh, same general. Okay. There's another tournament to where you got to have different generals. Actually, I forget.
I was so close to getting a 4-0. I'm so mad. I'll never recover. That was so close. I know it's a completely different topic, but every time I hear General Wars, like, oh.
But I know there's tournaments out there with the exact opposite, to where you need separate generals.
Separate generals,
and so you can have an potential army build where you do have separate generals, because you have your pirates that and Crimson Widow though can then make another pirate crew of from a different general who's not pirates to begin with, and make them pirates, then you still have a complete pirate army. I know that Soloscaper was theory crafting some of this when he was reviewing this wave, and was talking about Crimson Widow
could be
quite extensively.
Yeah.
Was saying like some of the for like Valhalla customs for like brute gruts might be a fun one for hire crew, and I'm just like, I kind of agree with that. So lots of good uses for that.
Sure.
And you got Pirate Commander. While there is an order marker on Crimson Widow, all pirates you control increase their attack value by 1 when attacking adjacent figures. So with Pirate Commander, with the last unique squad we looked at, also can increase their attack value.
Get a bonus attack. Yep.
It's no area of effect. It doesn't matter.
You just have to have one order mark. Now, that includes the X order marker. Because if you read it, it says while there is an order marker. The only reason if an X order marker, because it acts as a decoy, so you don't activate it. If the power doesn't say when you activate, you can use an X order marker for that.
Yep. There you go.
So that means you can have Pirate Commander active at all times if you don't plan on using your decoy at any point.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
This is where and I mentioned earlier where I was scaring my friends back in the day when I was proxying her. This was where that fear came from, because it was like, how are you getting Pirate Commander and Midnight Raid at the same time? X order marker every time. Like, it was just
okay.
Nice.
Let's read this. Before taking a turn with Crimson Widow, you may reveal the X order marker, which you've placed for Pirate Commander.
That's why it incentivizes X users.
On its army card to choose up to 2 pirates you control within 6 clear sight spaces of Crimson Widow. You may move. Okay, so this one is attack boost. This one is a movement boost, and so you can just decide which one that you're going to use, but you can't use both in the same round, which is a nice balance. That's a nice balance for that. If you're going to make use of the X order marker, so nice.
Now, hear me out. This is one thing I was doing back in the day. Right, Crimson Widow, Admiral EJ1M, Samurai, Azumi Samurai, right? And so I hired the Azumi Samurai as a pirate crew, changing their class to pirate.
My gosh!
And then I would activate Midnight Raid, sending them forward, and then I was able to use Boarding Party special attack because they had already moved 3 spaces ahead with Midnight Raid. That I was able to use Boarding Party to get them into adjacency, increasing the Admiral's attack every shot. It was really fun. I was messing around a lot with characters. Like,
there's so many uses.
So you can do some really good stuff with pirates. I'll tell you what. And that's just like a 3-step combo. It's because you place your X on her, right? You place the one. Because you have you don't even place the X on her. You can continue to mess with your opponent because you place everything on the Admiral. Because then you use Admiral's orders to adjust your orders so that they can't prepare for the raid. Then you put the X on her, right? So then you can activate Pirate Commander. Then move the characters. Then you reveal the X, activate Midnight Raid, move the 2 characters, activate Boarding Party, shoot, move, get the bonus attacks. It's fun. It's a fun clear. You do it right, it's a fun kill, but a lot of people freak out, and then it makes the Admiral like the #1 target on the map. So it's really funny. You better protect them as soon as you do that, because then they realize what you just did and they're like it's funny though. I love this setup. If you do it right, it's a lot of fun.
I think we're going to see a lot of masterful combinations with others in the future for sure.
I played so much pirates back in 2022. I have all my little crafts memorized. I'm ready. I'm gonna bring these guys to the table.
I can't wait. Like a year from now, like Gen Con next year is going to be like so intense, the competition, because you don't have just these, you're gonna have more stuff too, whatever they announce release coming up in the fall the next year and stuff, depending on how far they want to go. But yeah, okay, so that's taking a look at Crimson Widow. We still have more to go through, but I just want to say that necessary definitely for your army build. Well worth it, and well worth the wait. Finally, she is here. She is here. Coming soon stores. Okay. So we took a look at our pirates. And I just want to say in the Twitch chat,
pirates,
that we have Kylar616 saying, "Hey there, you couple of nerds." Yes, we are nerding out over some Heroscape. Jeremy, would you believe that it's like I have like 100 plus followers there on Twitch. It's just
that's awesome. I mean, you've been grinding
from like 60, like I think like a year or two ago. And it's like, boom.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'll keep on going there if people are still watching.
So,
but okay,
you are the voice. You're part of the Heroscape community.
Apparently.
Front line. There you go. That's
as much as I can. All right. So the next 5 units that we have to finish this up is the last of what was the announced Avalon Hill line. So again, this respect to those guys, all those guys who were putting this together for Renegade, for bringing them across the finish line. But we got our Dryans, we got our Beast Familiars. So let's take a look at them. So some are pretty good. I mean, it just helps complete the
it fills out some design.
It fills the gaps. It fills the gaps for sure. So let's take a look first at Vrono Brambletooth. And now this is one thing that we were commenting on Sunday, that like the artwork and the actual like unit is it's interesting,
Yeah,
it's just a little dissimilar, although it's like the artwork's not going to exactly match what's on the actual unit mold. But that was an observation we're making with some of these last night. But when it comes to
there's a design spec. They want the art to have a personality to it.
Sure,
it's like it's themed to the character, so it's more characteristic to the idea versus representative of the mini. Because I know a lot of people want the exact same thing we had back in 2004, and I respect that. I really do. I respect your dedication to the exactness of the product. It's just, this is a different studio, right? This is a different company, and this is their what's up?
I did.
Oh,
I did a boo boo. I did a boo boo. There, okay.
No, you're. But this is their, I guess you said, representation of the broader idea that is connected to what Heroscape is, right? And for them, they see an opportunity to personalize these characters via the art. So that's why you see a lot of, and this conversation's been going on, right? This isn't just the first time it's been brought up, but everyone's like, why isn't the art the same as the mini? Well, that is Renegade's design decision. They're doing that because they want the art to represent the personality of the piece itself, the mini itself, and not be the mini, but be representation of the character and what that was behind the idea. So that's what you see. You're gonna see this a lot, but it's like it's more of an aesthetic thing, if that makes sense, than
and I think
gameplay. I don't know.
I think if you change like the spikes there on the vines, if you just put a little black there, then you probably feel better, with it a little bit, just because
paint the thorns.
Yeah, the thorn. Make the thorns black instead of it just being the red. But that's just
yeah.
Anyway, let's read the lore for this. Okay, when Vrono was a young, what is he? Brambletooth, yeah. When he was a young pup Brambletooth, he spied on the Dryan from afar with his best friend Gerushia, too afraid to be seen. But in all his childhood games, he and Gerushia were Dryan together, waving sticks instead of enchanted staves, and pretending the wind responded to their call. And when Gerushia was chosen by Arbor tree to become a Dryan, Vrono was overjoyed. His turn was surely coming soon, and they would guide the forest together as friends. But the seasons passed, and Verona was forgotten by Aborius and his old friend Garushia alike. Garushia had no time to play anymore. He had a grove to protect. Verona was alone, and anger consumed him like wildfire. He turned it outward against the passing beasts and travelers, and wandered aimlessly until the day he met Halushat. The Lord of Beasts was terrifying, hovering over the forest floor with a long staff and a palm outstretched. But what she offered Vrono was an opportunity to prove himself. Even if Vrono was not a Dryan, he could still save Aborius. Everyone would see Vrono's true potential, even Garushia, Vrono thought. Even Garushia would see. Vrono gained confidence amid Halushat's court of beasts, commanding ferocious respect with each Skordire ripped in half by his lashing thorns. Woohoo! But still, Garushia never emerged from the high walls of his grove. One night, as Skordire spitters set chemical fires that raced through the trees, and the rest of Halushat's army galloped away through the blaze, Vrono took hold of a flaming branch. The fire that sparked at the end of it was the same as the one that burned in him. He carried it to the wall of thorns. He carried it to the wall of thorns that Garushia had grown around his grove and heaved it into the tangle. And he watched the flames climb high into the grove before he finally fled, bellowing through the trees. Perhaps he was not a savior after all. Perhaps he was wicked. Perhaps Aborius had always known it.
Yep.
The villain arc is an interesting one. Now, okay, I have a question.
Misunderstood.
Misunderstood. So were the Dryan... so Aborius is the planet, is the place, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
The Dryan are there. So the Skordire are also on Aborius, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the Skordire are coming from. So the Dryan and the Skordire are basically kind of fighting together there on the planet, kind of.
They're the previous opponents.
Okay.
On Aborius.
Interesting. I don't know if I knew that before. I'm sure it was mentioned before, but now I'm learning it again.
I want to say... I'm trying to think, because it's like... I mean, check. I'll check in the background.
That's fine. All right, and I can get into this. So here, let me just read, because I know we gotta rush through these a little bit.
I gotcha.
But I'm just gonna read through the card real quick. So 3 life, move of 5, range of 1, attack of 2, defense of 4, 45 points. Brumbletooth, unique hero, beast, confident, small 4. So kind of actually a small dude. It's interesting. Sharp thorns. If an enemy, small or medium figure, moves into a space adjacent to Vrono, the Brambletooth, where that figure could end its movement, you may roll the 20-sided die. If you roll 12 or higher, the figure ends its movement and lowers its attack value by 1 until the end of the current turn. If you roll an 18 or higher, that figure also receives 1 wound. Okay, so that's interesting. Side effect. Now I do have a question, Jeremy.
Mm-hmm.
So Dryans don't necessarily become Dryans. They turn into Dryans, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So I don't think we knew that.
Yeah, that is new lore established by this bio. So that's a good thing to when you see those little details, those are important details because they're definitely intentional.
For sure.
But it was a really cool concept because of course everyone's already seen these minis before, right? They were part of the HasLab. Everyone kind of already had their what was it? The stories that were told during the Avalon Halo crowdfund was when in Carmine he would post those during the day. He would write those up and post those to advertise the characters. But for the most part, a lot of these stories are kind of they weren't told yet, right? And so when these minis were received or on all these designs were received, the question was brought up pretty early on why Garutia and Vrono look exactly the same as compared to all the other characters from Arboreus. And so that question sparked the suggestion, well, what if the beasts and Dryan were related somehow? And then now and eventually all of that kind of, the workshop led to this point where we now understand that in the story that we're telling, Arboreus appoints the Dryan to their position of authority. And so they have these beasts of that do their various things, right? Because we've met several at this point, right? We have so we have Chana, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but we already have Kita, right? We have the Spring Runners, and we have Anshu, Welkanai. All these different names that you have heard in the past, right? Those are species of Arboreus, right? And then you have the Dryans. So it's like the general idea is that you have all these different species, and then Arboreus will have Dryan that govern over that, and they'll govern over those courts. I guess you could. There's different positions on the planet. They're pointed to those roles from the planet. So that's why you have, because it says Garusha is chosen by Arboreus. So the planet chooses from its species who becomes its guardian. If that makes sense. If I said
so, you turn from creature to guardian, then basically. And then, but if you don't, then you just stay a creature, and unfortunately for Vrono's case,
ask yourself, why you were never picked.
And then become, and that's why. So, and when you, I suppose when you transform or become a Dryan, then you become like mightier in stature, then, because there's probably a transformation.
There's more work involved.
Takes place. That's why
you get a domain.
That's why he's a small 4. So the small 4, that's the size of like a dwarf, right?
It's a dwarf.
Tiny guy.
Spider, just a little bit taller than a spider, I think.
Yeah, very, very, very small. Which is interesting. How I don't know if people like caught that, but a small 4, that it's not that high.
No, this was one of the cards that actually didn't get posted from the crowdfund. So this is actually a lot of players' first time seeing it.
Right.
This wasn't part of this didn't get sent to us as part of the preview.
So I know NGC.
So we never knew
came up with a Vrono.
Yeah. We never knew Vrono was tiny until now.
Right. So that's very interesting, because I don't think any other beast familiar is that small, right? I don't think so.
Oh, I check Kita. I don't think so.
Yeah, Kita might be close, but I don't think that's small. So
Kita's tiny, but I don't know if she's.
It's very, very interesting.
No, yeah, she's small 4.
Okay, she's small 4 too.
Kita's
So okay,
small.
Okay, well there you go.
So it's just typical familiar size. It looks like.
I mean,
Anshu. I think Anshu's also.
You see, I mean, you think you think like this guy's a giant or something, but no, he's just a tiny guy that wanted to become
just
great,
an Anshu, yeah.
But is just is trying to claw after greatness that will never achieve. Fed by lies. Like, how many villain arcs are that? Hey, Justin there in the chat saying, where was there a spot where in Carmine's lore was achieved? I understand it's not canon anymore. It would be fun to read again. Lore, I think
archived,
was or archived. Yeah, I'm sorry, achieved. Yeah,
I want to say someone did post it in the Heroscaper. They logged all the different posts he made.
I don't think it was very. I don't think there was too much to it, right? I mean, there was just
no. He even admitted it himself. He said he made those the day of. Like he would think about it and then type whatever was in his brain.
He was the lore team
before he had to go pick the kids up. Yeah, like that was his thing. Like, and people were saying it was scripture, but it's like he even was like, guys, no, this is just. It's just to hype you up. It's not.
Yeah, we had conversations with him too about different aspects of what he's
like. They had plans. They were working on all sorts of stuff. They had plans for a huge future, but it's like, we'll get there. We just have to hype it up, and so.
Anyway,
we got it though. We're finally here.
Yep. finally here. Vrono the Brambletooth, and let's just move on after this one to the next one. Because there's a lot more about Dryan lore we could talk about, but we're still looking at Dryan, so we can while we move on to the next one. Marshot the Mind Whisperer. This one's an interesting unit. And Justin's saying too, joining late as I've been very busy and finally got a free night and went to see How to Train Your Dragon. Pretty good nice. Audition, Hagrid edition for Nick Frost. Okay, interesting.
That's super cool.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, my son loves the How to Train Your Dragon, like, animated stuff, so.
The franchise, yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, he does. Like, he doesn't talk about sharks, he talks about dragons. Yeah. Okay. Marshot.
Nice.
Mind Whisperer.
Heroscape was made for him.
Oh, my goodness, dude. You have no idea. And he wants my son wanted the green dragon, you know? Like, and so I'm like, I gotta, like, okay, I think I got an extra one for you. Okay, here you go. Anyway, all right, lore for Marashot, right? Like Mara Jade, only Marashot. Mind Whisperer. So yeah, I think I got that a little bit. Okay, the lore. Have you received any word from Awashia? Zenithrak's voice shakes the floor of the jungle. With her shifting golden armor and massive purple wings fanned out, the dragon is an imposing presence. One that demands respect. Marshot sighs, unperturbed. I have, Marshot says. Her expedition was forced to leave the Anthenum. Am I saying that right? Athenium?
Where did that put it? I had the tab open.
I think it's at Athenium. Before their research was complete.
Yeah.
Yeah, Athenium. Her attempt to devise a cure using what they gathered there was unsuccessful. She says she is exploring other options. Time is running out, says Zenithrax. We're lucky that Awashia was vigilant and that Aquila did not drink of the poison spring. Oh, at least we know that now. But if she wishes to retain her powers as a Valkyrie, she must drink from a wellspring soon. You need not be anxious, Great Warden, says Marashot, smiling gently, and she applies the lightest touch of her Arboreus granted power to soothe, to sway, to convince. If Awashia's cure fails, I have contingencies. I do not take being Aquila's advisor lightly, and the seasons I spent as a city speaker in the Curupirian, Curupirian words have taught me well how to handle such inconveniences. Yeah, inconveniences. We're saying that 3 times already. I'm just saying. Murmurs the dragon. Ruby eyes half closed. A relaxation of her feathers indicates Marashot's whisper is working. But then Zenithrax shakes her head and continues. There's another matter. I have seen you speaking with Aquila's generals, giving orders as if you were a Valkyrie herself. Or as if you were the Valkyrie herself. You are the holder of a high honor, Marashot. Be careful that you use your power appropriately. I assure you, Warden, my allegiance to Aquila's cause runs as deep as my allegiance to Arboreus. She commands not only my loyalty, but my spirit. All that I do to further her reach. Satisfied, for now, the great dragon turns and departs through the trees, 3 tails swinging behind her. Marashot frowns. Once she would have balked at the manipulating the minds of her allies, but lately she finds herself leaning on her abilities more and more to get things done. The lives of every poison Valkyrie are at stake, and she must be willing to do whatever it takes to save Aquila and Arboreus alike. Now, I know some people were talking about this particular miniature here, looking a lot like C-3PO. You know, the artwork.
Oh,
and then it looks very wooden, like almost like a doll. Besides, with the exception of the face, the facial gaze, is
Yeah,
one thing.
I always because if you look closely at your Dryan miniature, they are supposed to have really distinct wooden patterns.
Right.
Because even Halucia has a lot too, and
Mhm.
I would have not known that until I looked a closer look at the mini. You can see like that bark
Yeah.
status. So I think that was part of the original design. They were meant to be like, because the theory that what I've been doing this whole time, if you look at the word Dryan, right, it's literally dryad human and
Mm.
combined. So
You mean
dryad are wooded spirit from Greek
kind of
mythology.
like an
So
ent, slightly,
it,
a little bit different, but
it's lots. I can see the comparison. It's just
Mhm.
more like a dryad would kill you sooner than an ent. If anything, it's like depending on the guardianship
Yeah.
of the tree. Yeah, ents
Dryans
are very
are hastier. Let's just put it that way.
yeah because they're the Greeks did not mess you mess with a tree in the Greek mythology, they'll just
Mm.
mess you up.
Mhm.
So
All right. Well, this card has some stats. Premium Escape. I really like this card too.
the auto hits, yeah.
Yeah. Mara Shot. Mind Whisper. Life of 6. Move of 5. Range of 1. Attack of 1. Defensive 3. 110 points. Attack of 1. People are like, oh no. Dryan, Unique Hero, Wizard, Confident, Medium 6. Of course, got the Command Familiar, where you can take a turn with a smaller medium beast you control. The Staff of... Can you say that word, please, Jeremy?
Kurpirin.
Kurpirin. Okay.
Yeah.
When rolling attack dice for a normal attack, Marshot always adds 2 automatic skulls to whatever is rolled. So basically, you roll an attack of 1 or 2, it could be 2, and you whiff that roll. Guess what? 2 skulls.
You still have a 2 automatic.
2 skulls.
Yep.
Automatic. 2 skulls. So it's like you rolled
Yep.
2 skulls. How amazing is that? Then you have Marshot's Whisper. I like this one too. After revealing an order marker on this army card and taking a turn with Marshot, you may choose a unique hero within 2 spaces of Marshot. Roll the 20-sided die, adding 3 to the roll if you control that hero. If you've already maintained control of it already, I think.
Mm-hmm.
If you roll a 16 or higher, take temporary control of that hero and immediately take a turn with that hero. After taking that turn, control of the chosen hero returns to the previous owner. Any order markers that were on the chosen figure's army card stay on that card. So is this like something to where you can do like you can continue rolling that? Like you can take a turn. Right? Because why would it say then adding 3 if you control that hero? If you already maintain control of it, then you can. You know what I'm saying? You could do like.
So what it's saying, because it's specifically saying after revealing an order marker on this army card, they state that because you have to take a turn first.
Right.
So you take a turn with her, then you can roll. You can choose a unique hero within 2 spaces, roll 20-sided. You add 3 to the roll if you control that hero, and then if you get a 16 or higher, you can then take a turn with that hero. So what it's letting you do, and this is the crazy part about Marachot, because you could effectively do a 2-turn or a 3-turn move if you're smart with it. Because if you set it up right, you control your command your familiar. You take a turn with your familiar. Then you take a turn with her, and then she can take a turn with a unique hero if you activate Whisper. Like if that roll goes through. So there's like a lot of really effective ways to just suddenly throw people off on their game if you play it right. And that's again not just yours, but also the opponent. So you can move. You can possibly take over other people for that turn.
So for that extra wording, then adding 3 to the roll if you control that hero. So is that wording included just in case, like you're on your next turn? Then if you have the opportunity to hit that same hero, then you add 3 because you already took control of it. Is that what it means?
No. It's if you control that character, you can take a turn with them. You can use
Oh, okay,
Marshot's Whisper on
okay,
anybody.
okay.
Yeah, any unique hero.
Now I get it. So you might have
Yeah.
taken a turn with like a familiar or another Dryan hero, or they just might be there, and so you
Well,
do
no,
command.
you can only use the Whisper if you activate her. You gotta take a turn with her.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Take a turn with her, but you have
Hmm.
another like Dryan hero like beside you or something, or two spaces from you.
Any hero.
That's your
Any unique hero.
that you
Yeah.
control. It's in your army. So you take a turn with
Hmm.
familiar, you take a turn with her, then you can take a turn with someone who's close to you too, and it's actually more
If
likely
you
if you're
roll a
adding
16.
if you're adding 3, then you need a
Hmm.
13. So
Hmm.
so you can take potentially an additional turn with another unit in your army, hence attacking potentially attacking with 3 miniatures, 3 units that turn, instead of 2, which is actually that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
And
It's
it's variable, so it could change up too. You don't have
right,
to do it
right.
the same
Okay,
time every
so
time.
that
Custom
makes more
made.
sense. I can understand that. That's pretty pretty good as long as you get that 20-sided die roll. Um,
Right.
so yeah, no, I now I understand that. That's actually interesting. That's very interesting. Uh, Makes me
I
like
could see
that
this
unit even more.
go, and you did say earlier like it can be another giant hero.
Right.
So you won't be able to chain it,
It's got to
but
be
you
unique though.
could in
Yeah, you
one
can't chain it.
turn. Yeah, you won't be able to chain it, but what you could do is command familiar, take a turn with Mardshot, use Mardshot's Whisper. It's successful. Take control of one of your drawing heroes, use them to command familiar, and then and then take their turn. So that gives you 5 moves if you're successful.
That's
And
crazy.
now it gets even worse because if you use Haluchot, she controls 2 beasts.
Oh yeah.
So you could command familiar, use Marchot's Whisper, take over Haluchot, command familiar twice, then use Haluchot. That's your
That's right,
plan.
because if you take a turn with another figure that's a Dryan hero, yeah, they have the command familiar as well. There's a lot of potential there. My goodness,
There's
that's
a
just
lot of you
brains
could really mess
exploding.
up somebody's day if you
Yeah,
play it right. You could really mess up somebody's day.
this is true.
But the idea of having 6 characters move and then 6 separate turns in a move is insane.
Well, and hence it's a
That's a potential
20-sided die
save, man.
roll. That's why it's a 20-sided
But
die roll,
that's the thing.
because
If you don't succeed in
50-50
the die
chance.
roll, yeah.
It's almost 50-50 chance. Slightly. I
Think
mean,
what was it at a 13 or
yeah,
higher? It
13
would
or higher.
be shoot. It's almost half.
It's
It's a
almost
little
half.
bit over half.
13 or higher is
Right.
better than 16 or higher. It's more
Right.
inviting to somebody to try it out.
somebody somebody mentioned
Marshall's
Marshall's Whisper with
with
Kato.
Oh my
You just
goodness.
you take a turn with Kato,
Right?
activate 2 Ashigari squads. You're just that's so
Hello,
crazy.
Metal Neon. I don't think you've ever commented in chat before. Welcome, welcome.
That would be
Thank you.
wild. I would love to see that. Just for the pain. Just for the pain.
No, absolutely. So like I said, we're gonna keep on going down the line for these Trions, but
We're almost done. I
almost
believe
done.
it.
Marshot the Mind Whisperer. Though, taking a look at that and
You're just really good.
expanded my horizons on the lore, but also just how you can really do a good job. So if people who just want dry and wizards and just want to get these and nothing else, there you go. Like it can be potentially very competitive. So again, just ups my opinion on using the Dryans and the familiars.
Yeah, Dryans play really well. If you know, like, the thing is, like, effective strategy is a big part of it. But if you understand how their magic works, oh man, they tear up. My battle box demos at the last convention I went to, this one of the people that I played against found out a way to use Awashia's create water as a way to stop me from being able to attack Awashia. Like put 2 spaces of water in front of her, so I would have to stop to even get into engagement with her. And because he did that, I could not attack her the entire game. And I was just like, dude, smooth. Like, there you go. Like, if you play them right, they can do some pretty crazy stuff.
And here, Wayne's saying in the chat. I just want to see. Oh yeah, you have to for like to You have to reveal
it
order
only
marker
okay.
for familiar.
Dang.
So yeah,
So it
you're
doesn't
right,
work.
Wayne.
Okay, so the 6th turn doesn't work.
That's
You can still
okay.
do a 3 turn though. You can still do a 3 turn.
Thank you, Wayne, for correctness, because Wayne also pointed out, like I said earlier in the stream, about the fish people actually
Yeah.
being a very a lot better of a unit than what I anticipated, because they don't need the
But
water
the
markers.
Marchot Kato strategy is still on it. We can still activate Kato, which then activates 2 Ashigari squads.
There you go. So
instead,
it's just the combination synergies of just classic and
throw
VC
everybody
and all this
on.
stuff. Oh my goodness, there's so much to think about, and this is
Yeah,
the thing I like most about Heroscape. And this is just my my analytical mind. I'm trying to figure out what are just the fun combo synergies you can use throughout all, the miniatures of like classic, Renegade, and VC, and just have fun with it. Trying to find a good, dependable army to have out on the field. So combinations are always fun.
Isn't it a good feeling to be back in this era again, where we get to theory craft and think about strategies and then predict and plan and wait for the next launch, just like the good old days.
I tell you what, and just so you all know, I'm probably just a few minutes from the storm coming on, like I mentioned almost 2 hours ago. There is a storm about to come through. I think it's pretty light, so hopefully it won't be bad. We'll probably hear some noise in the background, but I think my power will still stand, because it looks strong, but hopefully it's not too strong. Vexania is saying Kato doesn't need an order marker to be revealed to take 2 turns with Ashigara squads. That's an interesting combination. Okay, let me just check. Let me just double check. Let me just go back to chat, because I know there was. I think Justin was saying something here real quick. I want to try and I know I didn't catch up with the chat too much. Actually, like last Sunday, we had like 100 plus people, not 100 plus people, 100 plus chats, messages going on in the chat. I couldn't keep up with it. So I'm trying to keep up tonight with y'all though. Let's see here.
I do have it on the side, so I can catch it.
Sweet. Okay, so Justin was saying the Dryan and the Nemesis Warbrood were my least anticipated factions from the Vanguard edition, but after this latest Renegade Con, I'm very excited to get these on the table. Oh yeah.
I played them.
And then Vexania is saying, let's see here, Marshot's Whisper with Kato. Yep. And Justin was saying, and even Justin was saying, isn't command familiar after revealing order marker? So yeah, right. So that was a fun thought, but yes, that's right. So we were getting excited over.
I got excited, but I didn't realize command familiar requires an order marker reveal, which now. And I did bring that up earlier with Marchot's Whisper, because that language is very specific. When it says after revealing order marker, the reason why it says that is because you must take a turn with that character before you can activate the power. That's why they say that. So it makes sense. But also, heck, I wanted my 6 turns, man.
Well, we can dream,
right.
And I just heard there's a lot of wind outside. So again, guys, if this
dream is still alive.
If this stream cuts out, it's because power's gone out from the storm. Just so you know, we'll try to get back on. But just so y'all know, if it cuts, that's why, because there's a storm coming through.
I'll hold the audience
as long as everything will go off. My stream will just go.
Oh, that's right. You're it's on your end. That's
it's
right.
on my end.
You're hosting me. What am I saying?
Exactly. So
I grab your OBS. I got it.
Cross your fingers, say your prayers, people. Let's see. There might be a bumpy ride, but we'll see. Let's see here. Wayne. Yeah. Okay. So Wayne said that. Let's see here. Yeah, everybody's agreeing with Wayne and Justin. Yep.
The Kato dream is still alive, though. We still
got that would be great to bring a class, because how much Kato isn't used much, right? I don't think it's used much.
No,
this would bring him back to.
It's part of that King Army thing that you were talking about, because Kato is very much a king play piece. I think 200 points or something like that. So he's he's a commander. You don't want him dying at all. So if he dies, that goes your whole army.
Here, hold on a second. Let me check real quick. What's the delta right now for Kato? Let me look real quick.
Oh, I don't.
let me check here. Because I always have heroscape.org handy. So I just want to check real quick. So 200 standard, 170 delta. So if you're looking for like some type of delta event, you know, eventually when you get these dry on here, that is a possibility to use it and have that, you know, interesting bonding synergy to take a turn with Kato after these dry on. That might be an interesting build to have, you know. And I mean, when it comes to, let me see here. So Ashigaru, Harkabus, or Yari. Let me just bring them up real quick and see here. Let me just, okay, let me add on Kato or Kato. I say Kato because I grew up with Pink Panther, you know, so it's just it's part of me. Let me see here. We're just gonna do this real quick, guys, because I want that storm to go through just to make sure. I don't want to be reading through like the next stuff and have an issue with that. So okay, Ashigaru, Yari, Harkabus. So for Delta, 30 and 80, and then regular was, yeah, where is it? 60, 40. So Yari got boosted down for Delta, and Harkabus got actually boosted up 20 points for Delta. But
it makes sense. They're like
yeah,
the mini weight than fires.
For sure. But still, like 360 points and such. And actually, here, hold on a second. I'll do this real quick. Here, hold on. I'm trying to backtrack here. Well, I'll just go back. I can do Renegade pre-release on heroscape.org, and so there. Okay, what was it? What was the name of the Dryon? Marsha. Okay, that's right. Because I said Mara. So yeah, we're just doing a quick just dream building, guys. Some theory crafting here, just real quick while the storm goes through. So Marsha right now is 110. So let's say we're drafting for like a Delta army for like some type of Delta tournament. Let's just say we have like a 500-point army. Okay. So we got Marshot. Let's add some familiars on there. Like what familiars? What's the one that we haven't covered yet? Chana.
Chana would be, yeah.
Let's just put Chana, because Chana's 30 points, and let's put
Anshu.
Let's put Anshu. Let's just do that.
I'll be honest, I have not used Kita properly at all.
Okay.
I don't know how.
And so that's 190 points for Marshot. So now, let's find Kato.
Yeah.
Kato. Okay, so that's 390.
Oh,
but
right.
we're still on standard. It's still standard points.
Yeah.
But let's just get let's see here. Ashigaru. Odor will be good. Familiar for VC as well. Yeah. Vexania. Yeah, and I hinted this before on Sunday, but I might have an Otar very, very soon. So
nice.
Keep your eyes peeled when I do that unboxing. But yes, absolutely Otar for sure. If you're looking for VC, like a VC tournament, like I said, guys, the possibilities are just so looking forward to it. Okay, so let me see. I mean, Yari, wait, let's see. So Harkabus is that. So let me see with Harkabus. So that's 2 squads of Harkabus, which is all you need for Kato. But let me do Delta. So right now it's 510 for 2 squads of Ashigaru. Harkabus, Chana, Kato, Marsha, and Anshu. Let's switch it to Delta. It's still 510.
Dang.
so yeah, you would have to
I'd probably drop Anshu.
Probably drop Anshu.
Yeah.
Then it's 470.
Chana is a essential. If we're looking at importance of familiars, Chana is probably the most important familiar to have. And then
so let's let's try it. Well, I was thinking of like just putting on a Yari Yeah, you put on Ashigaru Yari, then that's 30 points.
I feel like that one.
It can do it, or I mean, Vexani is saying Kita as well. Here, let me just look up Kita real quick. What's her points?
You do have to keep Kato. You have to keep him within.
I mean, Kita's 25.
3 side spaces. Yeah.
Has Delta changed? Okay, Kita went down a little bit for Delta, so yeah, be 25. But you would have to keep, and Premium Escape same, but you have to keep Kato within 2 of the wizard. He could not just stand in the back. That would be risky. Yeah, it would depend on how things are going, and it's an interesting build. But again, you're relying on a 20-sided die roll too, so it would probably be more fun than, I would say, like strategic. But yeah, who knows? It was just fun to theorycraft for a second. Here, hold on a second.
Oh yeah,
I'm checking my radar. Here, hold on. We'll get to these last few guys here. Let me see here. Where am I at? Okay, it's actually cool. The good news is, the storm is like just getting less intense and more rainy. I mean, it hasn't hit me quite yet, but I don't think it's going to be horribly strong. I hope. Oh, of course, I can get some bad spots, so I can. I don't know. I guess we'll just do it. We'll just get to the next one. And like I said, guys, just hold on to your hats if a storm comes in. But let's just move ahead here, okay? Some fun theory crapping though. Let's see here. Vexani is saying, I mostly see this build going okay for high point games. Yeah, maybe if it's like more of like a 600 builds, because I think I would feel better if
more stretch room.
If you had like 3 squads of Harkibus. If those are the riflemen, at least 3 squads instead of 2. Then that might be a bit better. So yeah, I agree with Vexani. It'd probably be a higher point game, but usually for tournament games though, you're usually running somewhere like between like 400 and like 600. It might be a little too high, but it's usually under 600. So that's why I chose what I choose. Anyway, how the shot.
Very excited about Hell Shot.
Oh my goodness, Hell Shot's very interesting.
Options.
Yeah, Hell Shot, Corruptor of Beasts. Let's read the lore, okay? When Halashot was chosen as a Dryan, it was to shepherd the vast herds of animal life on Aborius. She indulged in Twilit.
Twilight. Twilight, yeah.
Twilight. Okay, Twilight talks with Welkin Eyes and made friends of the Mesmer Scales. Aha, got that one. She lent her hand to the smallest spring runner and the largest dragon alike. But those peaceful seasons were long ago, before the Scoredire woke, and Halashot learned what true power meant. There was no birdsong the day that the Scoredire returned from their ages-long slumber, only the deep rumble of churning earth and tearing roots deep below. The silence was finally broken by the horrendous shrieks of the bursting vanguard and the high-pitched chittering of thousands of infantry pouring up from sinkholes in the forest floor. As trees turned to splinters and beasts to shreds in the onslaught, Halashot was consumed with a rage unlike any she had ever known. The Scoredire were not animals, but a plague, a blight upon Aborius that must be stopped at any cost. And her own people had grown too peaceful, too complacent, too weak to stand against them. Furious, she bent the will of every creature she could grasp, no longer a shepherd, but a general mustering an army against an oncoming swarm. The creatures of the forest became her legion, rising at a sweep of her staff to tear apart Scoredire soldiers or trample them underfoot. She repelled the insect hordes that day, as she has done for many seasons since. Ironic that the high cities called her corrupter, saying that her grip on the forest spirit was too tight. After all, it was by her long hand that they remained safe. Safety and security. The day Halashot was almost eviscerated by a Skordar queen, she was summoned by the Valkyrie Utgar to fight on Valhalla, in much the way Halashot herself might have commanded the Zenith Wing to peck at a Skordar might. A Skordar might? Jeremy? We haven't seen a Skordar might. What does that mean? Anyway, okay, but there are Skordar here too, endless swarms, encroaching on the foothills of Utgar's mountains, and Halashot called the beasts of countless worlds to range into battle against them. Okay. I know you can't say anything, but now I'm looking for Skordar might whenever they make announcement. I need to see these little things that have like maybe just like a zillion teeth, and just like, just to do like bodies.
More teeth? You want more teeth
I want more
than the phalanx?
Of course
you
I
want
do.
More teeth?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Like just one little itty bitty thing, but like literally like at least hundreds of teeth, in this little like sucking mouth, that's like a leech,
Ah.
Yeah.
I worry about you. But
yeah, well, you have a right to. I don't blame you. Oh, by the way, guys,
but yeah,
her feet are right there, not down here.
Yeah, she is floating.
She's floating.
She's levitating.
Levitating.
In fact, she has the flying power.
Yes.
But yeah, Halashot, nice. Very, very cool aesthetic. And just to put it out before, I didn't get to mention on the other ones, but for this and the others and the next ones, Dandelions actually took points on all the giant bios as collective. So like did like a sort of like a unique story that connects them all, so you can kind of get a general idea of Arboreus, the planet, by reading all 5 of them together. It's like a nice little
and the Skordar as well.
Preview. So yeah, the Skordar, because they're part of Arboreus, you get to learn more about that. You get to learn about the Drying. You get to learn about the familiars. So Dandelions took point on all of that. Was really, and this was a really cool visual in a story, because you have again another situation where we're thinking about how these characters were summoned by Utgar, but why? And it's like, well, the Dryan are supposed to be guardians. They're supposed to be peaceful. They're supposed to be, what would cause a guardian or a peaceful guardian or a peaceful guardian archetype to become someone favored by Utgar?
Bring on Alien.
Well, yeah, well, but it's that idea that Halashot saw the threat of Skordire and was unfortunately driven into this sense of it's like when you become so fearful of a thing, or you become so anxious of a thing, you stop thinking about the means to achieve that goal or that or defeating that threat. So
she's like an evil Sigori Weaver,
That's good. Yeah, very, very good point there. There's the means answers the ends, essentially. So she sees that her mass domination of all these beasts, like force them to march to her will, to fight and all that stuff, isn't bad, because she's protecting Arboreus. She's doing these things. She doesn't understand why people call her corruptor, because she's like, but I'm doing what you told me to do. I'm stopping the horde. So it's like it's a fun, that dichotomy has always been fun to see, and it plays in both. It plays in this one and it plays in the Verono bio. Is you get to see aspects of Dryan culture, but from the outsider perspective of like individuals who were, one was selected and then didn't play the roles to perfection, quote quote, and then another was completely not selected at all, but felt that they deserved to be. So there's like, you can kind of start seeing how that plays out in each of these characters' perspectives towards Dryan society as a whole, and it's really, really cool. So huge shout out to that development there.
Sure.
But I'm gonna have to put it out and kind of what's the word, break the fourth wall a little bit. I really enjoy that they decided to show off some of their nerd fandoms in this piece. because if you go back up to the names of the different beasts that were mentioned, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got the Welkanized, right? We
Mm-hmm.
got the Spring Runners. We know what those are.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a new beast. The new beast, it's the Mesmer scale.
And I said
Now
that.
you're probably
I said
asking,
that name right.
yeah, you did say it. Yeah, you're probably wondering what's a Mesmer scale. Well, if you look really closely on Haluchat's mini, there are coiled serpents along the line.
Ah,
Those are the Mesmer scales.
gotcha.
Now, here's the fun. This is where I break the fourth wall. The Mesmer scales are a reference to Elden Ring, because I've never played Elden Ring,
Yeah.
so I'm going to get called on that. But if I recall, there is a boss named Mesmer that has snake, like red snake, around him, and so it's a reference to that. So this is actually a reference to Elden Ring that they made with the beast name. So I thought that was really. I was like, oh, you guys play games too? Like, you nerds. We're all nerds.
Kind of gives me a Pandora's
nerd
box
reference
type
embedded
vibe
in-
too, a little bit.
And there's a big part of character identities that she's she's forcing these emotions of anger and rage to fight back, because she's like, we need to do this, and everyone's like, but my free will though, So, and she's like, but we need to do this.
Safety,
Yeah.
Not freedom, safety.
You get to see the different what's the word? The twisted means in which they try to achieve their goals, because they're realizing, oh, we have to do this, but we might not be doing it the right way. Each wizard has their own way of doing it, which is really cool. I like seeing the distinctions.
Nice. Well, let's look at the card, and let's hear Vexania. I just want to say something. Vexania says, I love new Skardar lore, making me hope for some cool units to pair with my queen. Yeah, my queen. My queen too, Vexania. My queen too. I bow to the awesomeness who is the Skardar queen, and I actually have made a little animated short of said Skardar queen. I don't know if you saw that, but if you want to, after this, I just want to give a quick plug, because it's like this is important. Slightly, I made a little short stop motion animation of the Skardar, of the queen, and the ball of bugs and all that. It's called Enter the Skardar. If you look in the video section of the YouTube channel there, you'll see it. It's only like a minute or so long, and I have a regular version. I also have an extended version for members, which is just like a few seconds more. But I did that on a weekend, and it was a lot of fun. Hopefully, I can do more in the future. But if you want to see some fun stop motion animation of the Queen, go ahead and check that out, and appreciate the comments too. All right. So, Halashat. And Justin's saying we need more teeth. Yes, absolutely. Always use more teeth. Vixen is also saying, I recommend playing Maladrix with Red Mantis Blade Dancers from VC. It's a super fun build. I believe you.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. Halashat, Corruptor of Beasts. 5 life, move a 5, range 1, attack 3, defense 4, 125 points. Dryon Yukir, Wizard, Arrogant, large 8. And Command the Wild. After revealing an order marker on a Halashat, Corruptor of Beasts, before taking Halashat's turn, you may take a turn with up to 2, not 1, 2 small, medium, or large beasts you control. It's important. It's a different... it's not a command familiar, it's Command of the Wild. It's very interesting. Staff of the Long Hand, special attack. This is a fun one. So, normal range is 1, but you have a range of 2. You may use a Staff of Long Hand special attack before or after using Halashat's normal attack. So, it's like you get a special range attack before or after. You get to choose. That's so cool. I mean, it's a smaller attack, just attack of 2, but so you attack twice basically for this. So that's really cool. Like you were saying, Jeremy, even though you can't command familiars, it's still 2 additional attacks if you get this unit, from the other unit.
Marchot can activate it and then do the 2 attacks.
So there's 5, right? Or is it 4?
It would be 5 attacks.
Yes.
No, 4 attacks. It'd be 4 attacks, because it would be
4 attacks. Still, that's good. That's good.
And then Halashat's 2,
yeah.
But that's still pretty impressive for one order marker. honestly, anytime you can use an order marker to activate more than one thing, it's a good move. You're like, you want to, the more you can get done in an order marker, the better.
Yeah, and Vexina is here like saying, excited to try her with 2 Ice Troll Berserkers and Aerogret build. Oh my god, yeah, like I said, the possibilities.
We've been talking about the Ice Troll Berserkers. I think Haluchat was actually previewed back in 2022 as one of the Has
Right,
so
right.
we knew most of these powers. I think we knew these powers like from the very beginning.
For sure.
And so people pointed out the Ice Troll Berserker then, and I want to quote me if I'm wrong. I want to say it was around that time people were also noticing the price went up on Ice Troll Berserkers because of that. And I'm just like, stop it. Stop messing with the market.
Delta.
I mean, that's how it works.
Well, I mean, are you talking about the financial cost for Ice Troll Berserker?
Financial costs for their trolls,
right?
Like the troll miniature market, going to go buy trolls. People started selling more.
I got
everyone's
one.
Trying to buy them up now.
I got one original Heroscape one, but I have like 3 or 4 that I 3D printed back there, and the 3D print was okay for proxies, and so I'm just painting them up, and eventually we'll have a few to
I have a plan. There is a 3D printing store that just opened up this week near me, and I want to visit them. And, I want to discuss with them and be like, so how does this work? Because I think it would be really cool to start putting up some classic characters for the group.
Absolutely. And then second to last, calm the beast while defending against attack from a beast. Lucia increases her defense value by 2. So that's like 6 defense. That's near like death
That's
walker
anti-Krug.
Numbers. Yeah.
That's anti-Krug
there
right
you
there.
Go.
Anti-memorying.
Yeah.
You see less memorying, but it's effective. It works against memorying, but it's definitely anti-Krug.
It doesn't specify a normal or special attack, just an attack from a beast.
Any beast.
So any attack from any beast, that's cool. And then of course flying, because this is a fun one. This is so cool. Let's see if
I'm laughing at the comment. Look.
Yeah.
If you were born that frostbitten, you would have that ugly of a nose as well. I'm sorry.
And you'd be angry all the time.
You would be angry too because your face is frozen solid. I mean that hurts. Cold. The people.
Exactly.
That nose. I love the one of the running jokes when that character first came out. I remember was the nose issues because everyone's Ice Troll noses were bent, so it was just like who has the nose that's not bent?
All right, so let's take a look at how Corruptor Beasts. Really, like I wish we could talk more on it, but really cool. I really like where they're going with this. Like the mask too. That's just so cool. And the miniature is not terrible. It's actually a good animating pose for me, to be perfectly honest. I know that some people are just like they like this pose better, but for me, that's a good animating pose. Just saying. All right, so let's take a look at that. Let's move on. Got 2 more.
Oh yeah, worst case if an Ice Troll dies, Haluchat would be good for moving multiple swags, so it'd be a good core Grut build.
Yeah.
If you need your swags to move closer to different positions to get your arrow gruts boosted and things like that, you can move them around with Command Familiar, which is such a funny thought because Command Familiar is supposed to be commanding the beast, but it technically works because the Swag Rider activates as if it is a beast itself. So, Heroscape's so cool.
The possibilities, guys. The possibilities.
We'll
probably have to do like. So cool. I mean, we already did like a theory crafting for Gen Con a few weeks ago. We might have to do more of those in the future.
For the new stuff.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, eventually get more out there. So yeah, it's going to be lots of discussion on that. All right, Garishia, Grove Keeper. Here we go. The thorny one who's not evil. Again, a Brambletooth. So, okay, let's get into the lore. As a Brambletooth, Garishia once galvanated through the great roots of Arborean Underforest, without a care. But when Arboreus chose him to become a Dryan, he was infused with a powerful connection to the forest, and he was called to the task which the planet assigned him, to preserve a single hallowed grove. The titanic trees were on the verge of death. Scordire harvesters had carved winding paths beneath the surface of their bark, chewing any wooden flesh in search of droplets of enchanted sap. So Gershia raised high walls of thorns to barricade the borders of the grove and repel the insectoid hordes, and began to repair the damage the Scordire invasion had wrought, setting every aspect of the grove's ecosystem in order. Over hundreds of years, his grove became a shining example of what Arboreus could look like under Dryan supervision, so pristine that it even attracted enclaves of new Dryan led by city speaker Marashat to study beneath the 1,000-foot bows. It was glorious until the night of the fire. Oh boy. He is still not sure where the flames began. Oh, we know where that came from too.
But Yep.
The blaze consumed his life's work, and then his life, or would have, had not the Valkyrie Aquila pulled him into the world of Valhalla. He has accompanied Awashia on her mission to the Athonium in lore. I'm saying that wrong, but okay, just continuing. Chiefly to help with the research into a cure for the wellspring poison. But he also hopes to find an explanation for why Valhalla's soil fosters plant life from dozens of different worlds, and to collect seeds from as many species as possible along the way. Someday, he'll make his dream of a new grove a reality, and grow something that will leave the entire world in awe. So, a green thumb, this fella. A green thumb. And so this is another one to where, and even more so, like, a little bit different than the artwork, but I like the pose. I still like the pose.
I do. I think it's very funny that we saw the artwork before the card came out, because there was that meme. So the patience meme that had been circulating.
Right.
Very fun. Very fun. A teaser to the personality.
It's like a Hobbit, you know. You just want to watch. You like watching things that grow. You know, that's where your heart truly lies.
When the planet asks you to watch things, so you do what the planet asks you to do. It just
exactly.
I mean, come on, it's a giant planet.
Okay, let me read through this because there's a lot of words. Okay, Garushia, Grove Keeper. Life of 6, move of 5, range of 1, attack of 4, defense of 3, 90 points. Command familiar. Before taking turn, you may take a turn with a small or medium beast you control, so just same. Wicked Thorns.
The wizard core, or the drying core there.
Yep. If an enemy small or medium figure moves adjacent to Garushia on a space where that figure could end its movement, you may roll a 20-sided die. If you roll a 10 or higher, that the figure ends its movement and lowers its attack value by 1 until the end of the current turn. If you roll an 18 or higher, the figure also suffers 1 wound. It's interesting. So it's just adjacent. There's no space. It's just adjacent.
Yeah.
So and it's like it's an effect thing. It's like you don't make the choice. It happens basically. So you got to really think whether or not. I mean, it's 50-50 chance. And also
it's a funny concept because so I've taught a lot of players this about how you can use your movement to move around other characters to adjust for height, for example. So like if you don't have height advantage one turn, you can use your move to move around it. Like you're not breaking engagement because you're moving around the character, so you can go up around them. I've shown people that all the time. But now in this case, like if you try to adjust at all, it's like you have to roll for Wicked Thorns anytime you get into proximity. So even if you try to adjust, that triggers Wicked Thorns again. So you're not going to you won't be able to adjust. You won't be able to like you have to decide where you want to engage this character and at the precise time when to do it, because it's like you can't I can attack them, because if you go and attack, there's a chance to take a wound already, and it's pretty crazy.
And I think
it's really high chance, but it's still a chance.
then you have the next one, reached, where if someone is trying to go around and not trying to get adjacent to them, got reached. So you risk getting attack if an enemy figure is within 2 spaces of Garushia, and its level is no more than 9 levels above or 3 levels below Garushia's level, which is interesting. So he can be like going up or down and can still reach him. Garushia may add 1 to his range value when attacking that figure. I mean, so you still need to be a space away from him, right? Oh no, 2 spaces away. 2 spaces away, right? Okay.
Yeah, it's a hydropower.
So it'd be a range of 2. So yeah, technically, yeah, 2 spaces away. Okay, yeah, from there. Okay. And then Gift of the Forest at the end of a round. If Garushia is next to a tree or bush, you may remove 1 wound marker from this army card. So self-healing, always good. Self-healing. And hence the meditative pose, because it's like, okay, I'm meditating, wounds
Not
gone.
only self-healing, but a life of 6, right? So like maintaining self-healing on a life of 6, where, so I mean, you park Garushia next to a tree, and you know you're playing a map, you see a tree, you draft Garushia. Why? Because all you have to do is park Garushia next to a tree and just wait, because they're going to have to come to you, right? Unless, and I think the only way you would really want to effectively fight Garushia is non-adjacent entirely. Because at this point, I feel like
God help you have a melee army, you know.
If you have a melee only army, this will not play very well against Garushia. Will be able to beat you up.
It would be tough. It would be tough.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Now I just gotta try it sometime in the future. It's like, well, let me see how I do. You know. How bad would it be? Yeah, it's interesting.
Healing next to trees is so wild. Because I mean, you just
able
go
to
find
heal
a tree
attack
in the middle of a corner. Good luck.
So, and with the lore, this explains a bit about why Vrono is so angry. But also we get Lucia's side, and again, I love like you said, the score dire. You get to know more about them. What is the sap they're trying to get? You know, why is that important that they get it? And how villainous the score dire are. And I didn't mention it from last time. Oh yeah, we did. But what was it? It's score dire harvesters. We don't know that either. So mites harvesters, those words are put in there. We don't know what those are yet. Am I right? I'm not asking you, Jeremy. I'm asking the audience. I'm not asking you, so you don't need to answer anything.
It's a good question.
I'm just making those observations, like mites and harvesters. I got to keep an eye out for those now.
Theory crafting is part of the experience.
I
wonder what it all means.
I need more bugs for my queen. I think Vexania agrees with me too. Okay, so let's take a look at Garushia Grovekeeper. Very, very interesting unit to have on the battlefield for your Dryon builds for sure. So we'll see how they do. And now, the last one.
I think it's interesting too, because it's like you have Garushia, which definitely plays like a character you won't move much, and then you have Halushia, which is a character you move a lot.
Yep.
Because ride by special attack, you know, and then the trees attack everything too. So that would be an interesting, effective counter strategy too if you're fighting Garushia, a draft Halushia so that the tree does damage as well. You know, something like that.
Just Dryon army builds themselves, you'd have to theory craft. Okay, what can I do with these guys? Because there's lots of possibilities. All right, last one, Jeremy.
Some of these we're seeing. Yeah, we got this.
Chana the Zenith Wing.
The most important familiar. If I was to make a grade, I'd say this is the most important familiar out of all of them.
Think I probably agree with you. Let's look at the lore. Chana began life as all... is it Zenith or Zenith?
Zenith.
Zenith wings due on Arboreus as a small writhing tendril covered in thorns. After her initial feeding on berries and sap, there's the sap again, she inched her way up the side of a 1,000-foot tree to dangle from a high bow, where she and a host of her siblings grew hard cone-like shells and waited for the winter to pass. Metamorphosis, that's interesting. When spring came, wait, this is a big, beautiful butterfly. I just realized that. Butterfree. You have frickin' Butterfree here in Valhalla. That's what you have right now. This is bringing me back, like taking me all the way back 20-some years ago to when Pokemon first came out as an anime. Right. Oh my goodness. Okay, where was I? When spring came, she stretched out her beautiful new wings from within the thorny exterior and took flight, sailing through the treetops into the wind. Zenith wings are prized as familiars among the Dryan for their ability to heal and soothe afflictions. And when Channa was summoned by the Valkyrie Ular to Valhalla, she was assigned to the ancient Dryan Halushia. He was a cantankerous old creature, and his mind wandered as freely as his hooves, but under Channa's watch his condition improved, and he threatened to behead his allies less often. But he is gone now, and only Channa knows that he is away helping the exiled Archmage Sonlin in blatant disregard to Ullar's orders. For Ullar is not well, and that is where Channa's attention has been directed. In his halls, she hops from one high wooden chair to the next, keeping an eye on the Valkyrie as he paces in a haze. At times, he will sit and allow her to come close, rest a hand upon her crest while she resonates with song and feels the intricate network of his veins and heart. The darkness that seeps through his body travels in his blood, infiltrating the corridors of his mind. She can knit together flesh with a melody, but she can only ease Ullar's suffering as the poison courses through him, and hope that Sonlin and Halushia will return with a cure in hand before it is too late. Stakes, guys, stakes. Hello, Jun and Jello. Definitely. Yeah, there's actually, okay, you know what someone needs to do once we get these? Paint like Butterfree. Do a Butterfree type paint, from Pokemon. That would be really cool. Any lore thing you want to say, Jeremy, before we move into the card?
Mainly just it's really neat how the explanation of the life process here, more referencing to how much of Arboreus is just like a natural setting. Like it's just it's life unchecked. They all grow in this sort of way, and then you have the Dryan that protect them and things like that. And then you have each of these beasts that also provide something to the wizards in their care of the forest itself. And so now, Zenith's wings have this ability where they're able to heal. And Halushia is a very angry man, this support. But now, right, with Ular's poisoning involved, Channa's working to keep Ular from I won't say like fully going into the poison, but just like it's like a buffer from the poison's effects. So Ular is like very much affected, but it could have been worse, if that makes sense. Because with Channa there, Ular's still able to kind of not be extremely sick from the venom. So I think that's really cool that they have that concept. There's an Arborean familiar that's keeping the Valkyrie from falling entirely
going too far.
Yeah. So it's a really cool concept that Dandelion's crafted here that I thought was really impressive.
It's allowing us to know what the stakes are, which is good. Which is good in the story.
And so with these bios, you've now been introduced to the fate of 3 of the Valkyrie generals. So
there you go.
You're able to keep up with those deeds,
which is good to know. And okay, Channa the Zenith Wing. Yeah, I think this might be one of the most valuable pieces on the board.
I have there's 3 main reasons, but there's like one very specific reason that I think makes her the most important, and that is because if you read the rules, it says if you roll a 12 or higher, you may remove 1 wound marker from a friendly wizard or beast. You notice how it doesn't say Dryan wizard, it says wizard. That's all wizards.
There you go.
So Channa can heal the elf wizards. Channa can heal any of the D&D wizards. Chana can heal any wizard or any beast. So it is the option for Chana's special ability goes
So,
into multiple ranges.
do you think
not
those
just
30
drawing
points are
armor.
going to bump up like 5 or 10 probably sometime down the line?
Probably for Delta, yeah. If they're considering what she's able to affect in tandem, yeah, they'll be like, wait a second, you essentially, if you play it right, you can merge the effectiveness of the elf army with the Drying army if you play it right.
Chana can heal Krug.
And then,
yep.
and Chana can heal Krug. Chana can heal Krug, which
That
I mean, in a
that's
way,
insane.
ruins the Wounded Smash, but
Yes.
it does give you a longer life
Yes.
span with him. So it's like, yeah, it adds a different play factor to the troll, which is like, maybe I want him to live, maybe I want him to die. I don't know.
Well,
And like rolling this with 12 or higher is not that difficult. It's not as
Yeah.
difficult as like
Right.
an 18.
Again, it's 50, nearly 50-50. Okay, stats. Shana Zethlin 3 life, move of 5, range 1, attack 2, defense 3.
Definitely a familiar.
30 points.
Definitely familiar
Yep.
stats. Meant to buff.
Yep.
Make the wizards or buff the wizards.
So Zenthwing, Unique Hero, Beast, Merciful, small 4. So it's also another small creature. So not that big. Again, butterfly. You might as well just call the thing an insect. I just just do it. Just butterfree and everybody's
Insects
happy.
live on Earth. Tails. Spore dyers on Arboreus.
Okay. I'll stop. Renewal 12.
I'm trolling you, man.
If Chana the Zenith Wing is within 5 clear sight spaces of a wizard you control, instead of attacking, you may roll a 20-sided die. If you roll 12 or higher, you may remove 1 moon marker from a friendly wizard or beast adjacent. So you have to have a wizard you control, 5 clear sight spaces, to heal a friendly wizard or beast adjacent. So those are
position rules. Yeah.
There are. So it's you got to make sure those rules apply. But still, that's a very nice. I think that's a pretty effective like healing compared to others. And also the stealth line is also great. Although I don't know, like, I don't think you'll be stealthily flying like anywhere, into like enemy hands or anything like that. I think this is one you want to keep away from.
Mainly using it to get away. Yeah. And I think that would be its most effective play is, oh, they're coming to attack my Chana, so I can't heal, and I can leave engagement now. Like.
Very, very cool. And let's see here. Vexania is saying, I think China is super slept on by some because they're compared to Anshu and not compared to Kita, who cost some points. And wait, I think Vexania said something. Oh yeah, I saw this meme. Friendship ended with Kita. Now Chana is my best friend.
Yeah.
It's actually a meme that I downloaded and will have like the end of the year. Now I understand what that meme means. I didn't understand what that meme meant. I downloaded it and I saved it, but now I understand what.
That's funny.
What it's meant. Let's see here. Yeah, Chana with Krug, Memory, and Airguts would be a lot of fun. Quintella Gwen is an easy 20-point auto include to allow Chana
cheap
to
wizard to keep the power.
There you go.
And Quintella would literally exist. I think at that point, Quintella would literally exist just to activate Renew, because you keep her in the back and then just have her be the 5 clear side space wizard. Yeah,
that's interesting.
So that's a nice little effective play there. And then if you have an elf nearby, then Strength of the Oak.
And it can't really.
I like that.
Can't really see. Oh, you made the meme, Vexania. Oh, awesome. Well, it's downloaded, and we do, like, usually at the end of the year, we collect all the memes throughout the year, and we've done this a few years running. And at the end of the year, we have like something called Memes to Midnight stream, to where we read all the memes that people have done. I usually, like, on the Tales of Valhalla Discord server that I have actually a section where people can drop their memes on as well, but I collect them in other places as well. And we just read them all, have some fun, just party time usually at the end of the year when it comes to that. And yeah, it's a great stream. So yeah, I collected that meme, and definitely looking forward to others. But how about Jeremy? We close it. Shaun of the Zethn Wing, definitely a fun, good filler. Again, the possibilities
it makes us
for this unit.
Heroes of Arboreus is like, I mean, I feel like if you want a really good combo, so like earlier I mentioned the Galerier Vanguard set, right? Buy 2 of those, that's 300 points. I imagine if you bought Heroes of Arboreus, right, and then Battle for the Wellspring, that those 2 sets together would give you an effective army for any play. Like,
absolutely.
Because then you basically have every drawing option out there minus Halucia, because Halucia is with Sonlin in their own set. But you get everything else. You get all the familiars. You get all the you would have a Washia Rakshot's in the master set. You would have a Washia, Garushia.
I don't think Rakshot counts anymore.
Rakshot.
Poor Rakshot.
I've played Rakshot a couple times. They can play really well. They're really good at holding glyphs. I'll say that much. Holy crap! I had Rakshot on a glyph and they did not let go for like 3-4 hold. It was wild. It was a while. I was able to hold that glyph for a while, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, Akalar is going to see some more use. I thought about that too for Akalar, Leaf of the Home Tree. That's going to be interesting.
But let me close this out. So Shaun of the Zethn Wing, that's taking a look at her first look, and yeah, I'm liking this wave 5 for sure. All right, Jeremy, that's it. That's all Renegade wrote.
Let's go, Embers of War. Well, there's still one more thing. Wait, did we go? I can't remember.
The Citadel, oh yeah, we did the dice tray.
Oh yeah,
we did all that stuff last Wednesday. Yeah, we spent time doing that.
Okay.
We covered everything.
But we didn't do the end stream reveal.
Yeah, I actually talked about that last Sunday, and I can give you a brief comment on what I was saying. It's like, I was only mentioning that I was still disappointed in the fact that when Age of Annihilation was first announced, I expected something to be annihilated, like half the planet to blow up or people die. So we were just having a little fun talking about that on Sunday. But I think actually when you read the lore into this, I was thinking, the annihilation, I guess the annihilation part would be actually, and someone was mentioning this in the comments too on Sunday, the poison well springs, was kind of like annihilating or doing its best to annihilate the Valkyrie. Right. I mean, for me, still, I don't think it's strong enough. I want something to blow up, but that's just me.
Don't forget the peace summon either, because they were trying to fix things and then they didn't get to fix things, and then
so everything just
was messing things up either. So no one is on anyone's side. Everyone is actually currently fighting each other. Gandar's locked his borders up. He doesn't want to talk to nobody. Ular's poisoned. Einar's poisoned. Aquila avoided the poison. Yeah, so there's a lot of.
They're not even talking tariffs. There's just no communication at all. So
everything's all over the place. It's bedlam. That's my favorite word. I like the word bedlam.
But
right now,
and one of the things, so it was announced. So next year you have like the GI Joe, and you also have is it Guardians of the Citadel or was something of
Secrets of the
Citadel. And so when it comes to that announcement, and my observation was, if it is a master set, I think it's great because Age of Annihilation was like a huge explosion. It's just like, okay, what were we expecting, And I think it's actually it might be good. Well, here I had an argument, then I had a counter argument to my argument. One for me was just being worried, like, I hope it's not like a situation to where this is like Guardians of the Underdark, to where we're moving towards more D&D type, and you don't have to respond to any of this, Jeremy, but this is just my observations, to where it's just like, I hope this isn't like a Wizards of the Coast flub, to where you get stuck in a D&D rut like Wizards did. Now, and I said that saying I have complete confidence in Jeremy and the team in this. So this is just, me thinking. But my counter argument as to that criticism was, maybe this is just a way to start at a lower stake. and then over time build these ages, these waves to something bigger in the future. Instead of starting out with explosion pizzazz, you start building from the ground up the storyline, the plot. So for me, that's where I felt just like I'm sorry. I keep on saying Guardians of the Citadel. Correct me, please, Jeremy. What's the name again?
It's Secrets of
the Secrets of the Citadel. It just seems a lot more calmer. A lot more just like, okay, this is just like, it sounds just a little bit underwhelming, so to speak. But maybe that's a good place to start. So that way you build up a story over time, instead of just like everything explodes at once. And then you have nowhere else to go. So
right.
Yeah. So those were kind of my sporadic thoughts on that.
Nice. Okay. Well, I mean, I obviously can't say much.
Right.
NDAs, but I think the most important thing, if I can say anything, and the one thing I do want to say is Heroscape continues. That is
Boom.
the most important. And
right.
People are probably like, well, what's so big about that? Well, I remember when a certain game didn't exist in the market for 15 plus years, right? Like, I mean, I remember an era where we had to make our own characters literally by going to the store and buying other franchises
right.
and unbasing those and
we still
putting
do.
them on Heroscape bases. And we still do. But the point is that Heroscape's market line is continuing and has a continuation up until, as you have seen now, summer 2026.
This is a good point.
And I think that's a big deal.
No,
because it just Heroscape's alive and it's continuing. It still has a life. It still has a future, and that future is very much in the hands and was a big part. It's so hard to explain how many people have had a part into where we are today with this game, because it's like, the various attempts to bring it back, right? We had, how many companies had it at one point? How many people tried to make it? And then Avalon Hill was doing their thing, and then the HasLab, and then the different custom projects. There's a lot of love for Heroscape out there, right? And the passion is felt, and the joy is felt, and wonder is felt, and I have been a part of that since, because I remember picking up Rise of the Valkyrie in 2004 when it first came, all the way back then when I was a kid, playing the heck out of that, not knowing a single thing, and not playing I didn't know what an order mark was for years. Okay, right? Even though I had the game when it first came out, but I promised not play it right because I was a kid. I was young. But what it first grabbed me with was the ability to just do whatever it wanted, right? It didn't really explain too much why it was doing what it was doing, but it was just, why not? Because it's cool. That was the vibe it had. And now you get to tell people, if you're playing this game now for the first time, or if you've been playing this game now for the past 20 years, you get to tell everybody there's still one more year. And I think that's the best news, because Heroscape keeps going.
I think that's a good point, because Renegade just said, okay, your Age of Annihilation stuff's out. Okay, we're done.
It could have just been the crowdfund. And then they could have called it quits. But no, Heroscape has a future.
Apparently, sales are going really well. Otherwise, they want to keep on going. So
thank you, community members, for believing in us and getting those pre-orders in. Because they help. They really do. And of course, all the community events as well. Because I see it out there. People post games, right? I actually, starting tomorrow, but on Friday to Sunday, I'm going to be at my the city's Marriott downtown, because I'm going to be demoing Heroscape to a local convention. So that's what I've been doing at my city. I've been demoing. I think this is going to be my 4th convention I've demoed Heroscape at, and then teaching people how to play the game. So word of mouth is a big part of it, right? Sharing this game with everyone you meet, playing it when you can, talking about it when you can, posting the memes. I know memes are fun, and we make jokes and all that stuff, but it's like, that helps too, by the way, surprisingly enough.
The
You
memes.
post that online, it spreads, people share it, people post, they're like, what's that? That's a funny, silly character. I don't know what that is. They look it up. Oh, what's that? I like this game. Boom. We just got another player. You have no idea the extent of your reach. But I promise you, all you got to do is just do what you're doing now and look where it's going. We have a Heroscape has a future now. So thank you all for continuing to participate and play the game and, theory craft and discuss and lots of discussions in the Discord. I see it all the time. Lots of topics in and out. Really hard to follow sometimes, but that's just because I'll be at work and it's like I should not be looking at my phone when I'm at work. So that's my. But no, I do try to keep up with everybody, and I don't know. I'm really proud of this community. I think we do. We've been able to achieve a thing that not a lot of people say that they've been able to achieve or have seen achieved, which is the resurrection of a beloved franchise and a continuation of the franchise. So that is a thing we all can share and be proud of. I think all together, we can all collectively say we did this together because this is a thing we all believed in. So here we are. Heroscape is now. So cool. It's fun. I'm so happy to see it. The way, like, I mean, I didn't cry, but the emotions I felt when I walked into the game store the other day to see Heroscape on the wall, like there it is, so it's just, that is all our effort. We all contributed to that.
Still have a lot of work to do. But
yeah, and I mean, hey, the game started. Don't forget, the game's technically launched in August of last year. So
yeah, that's true. It's crazy.
Everything that's come out since August. Yeah.
All right, Jeremy, we need to wrap up tonight because it's getting.
But we do.
Yeah. I'm sure you need to rest.
I got work tomorrow.
I need to rest. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, dude, I'm sorry. I was trying to keep this.
No, dude. I wanted to celebrate this with you. I wanted to celebrate this with the community. I can spare a few hours of my bedtime for this because, heck, I know I've done it already in the past. So, but no, I love this game, and I really do love to get to spend time with y'all talking about it. So
yeah, and. Yeah, well, won't need you for another, like, I think 3 months, so,
I mean, I get to hide in my corner and make more lore and more time to create even harder words for Tales to Stream. The next word will have 5 syllables, just for you. Just for you.
Eventually we'll have to revise that vocabulary stream, I don't know when. Maybe 5 years from now.
I will invent a word about all 23 letters, specifically for you.
Either that or like someone naming like a miniature after toothpick would make me cry. I think.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead and plug yourself, sir.
But yeah,
link description below, even from last Wednesday. So.
Heck yeah. My name is Jeremy, aka Croto, and aka the Eslam Collate, the lore guy. That's literally what I call myself that because that's usually all I do online. I'm not a master of anything. I'm still learning. There's still a chance to learn. I mess up. Anyways, but you can find me on Twitch and on YouTube and all the social medias. I have been working on my presence at Blue Sky, which is one of the newer social media apps out there. But I also have Instagram and all the others. You can type in the Eslam. You should be able to find me somewhere. And also wanting to shout out the continuous effort for this year, 2025's attempt to raise money for my local children's hospital at Extra Life, a thing that we've been able to do with Heroscape and have done multiple years in the past with Heroscape and want to continue because they have taken the time to congratulate our efforts. So we want to continue to give back to them via our efforts. So anytime I'm talking Heroscape, I do also try to bring up Extra Life. And if you check out the link down below, you can see ways to donate to my local children's hospital and get that support for the kids in the local area. They got Heroscape at the hospital now. Don't forget that. That was Renegade donated Heroscape to the local hospital. It's a super cool thing. I want that to be part of the experience of Heroscape. Not only is it a fun tabletop game that everyone loves, it also does good things for the community. So that's a thing I want for it. So yeah, that's pretty much everything for me. So I yield my time.
Thank you, Jeremy, sir. And let's see here. And of course, I'm Ryan, aka Tales of Valhalla. Kind of do these streams talking about Heroscape, but I primarily also like to do a little bit of a stop motion animated story and lore based off the Heroscape universe, using those miniatures, using the terrain, having some fun with that story. Got like Vexania, I don't know if you've watched anything, but again, I got some Scoredire animation stuff. If you scroll down, if you check out the playlist, I've got 3 seasons worth of like it's primary classic scape stuff that I spent the last like 12 years working on. If you want to feel a little bit more of that nostalgia of when you were 5, that's crazy. You were 5, I think, mid 2000s. I was in my 20s, so bless you. I hope you have a great time rediscovering the game. And yeah, so as far as like this Wednesday stream, this is the last time we're talking about Heroscape things on a panel type stream for a little while. I think it's going to be actually like 4 or 5 weeks until we have another ToV podcast. Kind of taking a summer break because it's hot here in this house, and it's tough to keep things cool when you're streaming. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to stream. There'll be unboxing videos over the next few weeks. I still got to prepare for like the Gen Con tournament, so I'll be streaming like playtesting skirmishing some armies for that. So definitely join in on that every Sunday and every Wednesday when doing that. So thank you guys so much, everybody who's commented in the chat tonight. You all are awesome. I think this was another very communicative stream like this past Sunday and last Wednesday too. Let's see, I'm just gonna catch up with chat real quick. Justin saying, I would not count Jeremy would create a 5-syllable word to mess with Ryan, or would not doubt. No, yeah, I don't put anything past Jeremy. If he says something, that's probably it's gospel truth.
just to hear you try to say the word on that's the only. What's the lower reason for this? Oh, I wanted to
embarrass this old man. See here, J.K. Rowling kept using the phrase Harry pocketed it because Stephen Fry, who did the UK Harry Potter audiobooks, always stumbled over the phrase while recording. And Justin says, no. Darth Vader.
That's great.
Let's see here. What else? Vexani is also saying the hex train system is what I remembered most about the game. When I was 5, my half brother had the game, and I thought the game was a weird dream until I rediscovered the game. Yes, we'll definitely have fun rediscovering it. And yeah, again, thank you everybody for commenting tonight. Appreciate you all. Hopefully see you all this Sunday when I'll probably be doing some small skirmishes. We'll see. We'll see what we're doing. Although I am also re-editing like again my Tales of Valhalla YouTube series, season 1, season 2, and season 3. Almost got season 1 done, so I might be working on that too. We'll see where we're at on Sunday, but should be a fun summer. Check me out. Check Jeremy out when he's able to stream. Thank you everybody. Have a good night. And we'll see you later. You have a purpose in your life. Find it. Pursue it. Live it. Oh, and one other thing. I do apologize for the noise above my head. That's my fan going on because it is hot. So for this part 2, if any of you listening to this on Spotify, because eventually it will be on Spotify, if you hear that noise on this part 2 part of it, a little bit of background noise, it's because a fan, I didn't want to sweat profusely during this warm night. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that as well. Everybody have a good night. See you later now. Bye-bye. Take care.